Hello, everybody, and welcome to the new campaign. This is
Woo!
going to be the Call of the Netherdeep, which technically doesn't drop for like almost a month, but we're going to do levels 1 to 3 in Wildemount using one of their intro adventures to kind of build our party rapport and then convert into Call of the Netherdeep, and we'll see if we have the same party in 3 sessions as what we do today. See what characters are alive and or dead. Um, but I am the DM for the campaign. My name is Alex. I have 4 players who can just go ahead and tell you who they are, which go left to right on the screen right there.
Oh, hey, is that me? I guess I've been on the Roll20 longest, even though I was the last person to show up for the actual game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Esther. I am playing the Total Barbarian Oh No. Um, and I'm very excited to be here.
Excellent.
Oh no. Alright. Uh, I'm Moondogs or Chris, whichever one you choose. And I'm playing Greenie, who is a Emerald Dragonborn bard.
Excellent. Excellent.
What? I'm Pie Guy. I'm playing a blood wizard and shit.
For
I
now, he's
probably
playing
will
a
be
blood
dead
wizard.
in 3 minutes.
Mhm.
All right.
Hello, I am Pepper, and I am playing the Air Genasi druid whose ill-fated mission in life is to keep Pai's character alive.
That's a bad
It's
mission
not
right
gonna
there.
go well.
All right. So we got like 15 homebrew rules. We're not going to read them all because they're not all going to be active all the time. There are some very situational. So you can do a potion as a bonus action for yourself, or administer it to somebody else as an action. You can also spend your whole action to drink the potion and get the full benefits, so you don't have to roll it. So a 2d4 plus 2 would just be 10 if you use your action to drink it. Otherwise, you got to roll. Any death saving throws, send them to me in secret. We'll use the Resurrection Fading Spirits ritual whenever we come to that, if we do. Critical hits are dice rolls plus max damage dice plus all applicable modifiers. So 1d6 plus 5 would be like whatever you roll on a d6 plus 6 plus 5. Flanking, I like it. It's in play. If you're in flanking positions, I'm about it. Do it. You can do it. The enemy can do it. It's a fun time. Um, and then the next two are specific. One specific to just wizards, because I don't want to fool around with taking time and money to learn spells. So you can try to learn one new spell a day by doing a DC Intelligence saving throw equal to 10 plus the spell level. You can do that attempt as many times as you want until you pass, but anytime you fail, it's 1d10 per spell level worth of psychic damage that you cannot reduce. So if you try to learn level 3 and you fail, you take 3d10 psychic that you can't reduce. You could die learning magic. And then all spellcasters, once per day when you're out of spell slots and you want to attempt to cast a level of a spell that you can normally cast, like if you have second level spells and you have no slots left, but you want to cast a second level spell, you can do that. It will just cost you the equivalent in levels of exhaustion. So a second level would be 2 levels of exhaustion. 1 is 1, 6 is 6. And if you go any higher than, well, 5, you'll die. So, which
That
you
would be.
you can
But
do.
can you die and go out in such a blaze?
Oh, 100%. You can
Oh,
100
that's
you
so
can
good.
100% do a 6, 7, 8th or ninth level spell just with no spell slots left and die doing it as the sacrificial magic
Hmm.
cast. 100%.
That's so
Hmm.
good.
But it's only once per day, so,
Chef's
you
kiss.
know. But it's possible. Cool. All right. So, with that being said, I have a fun little mini music thing. I'm gonna start, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and start with the actual campaign intro, get it all going, and we will be off. So here's the little session intro that I'm gonna use every time.
Hits.
Welcome to Wildemount. The year is 836 PD, or post-divergence, and the continent is at a strange point of tentative peace due to the efforts of a group known continent-wide as the Mighty Nine. The Dwendalian Empire and the Kryn Dynasty are walking a tightrope of negotiations to keep the sated war at bay and their citizens alive. While the living legend of the Mighty Nine is carried from border to border, the members themselves seem to have primarily separated, at least for the time being, and are out leading less public lives, save for Caleb, Widowgast, and Beauregard Lionette, who are working with the Empire and within the Empire to help set things right and solve some of the issues that they uncovered through their work with the Assembly and the Cobalt Soul. And oftentimes you'll see a larger woman, who many know as Yasha, at the side of Beauregard as they are making their public appearances doing their political work, and Caleb himself teaching sometimes. Their story, legendary and as world-changing as it may be, is not where we find our attention today. As the cool autumn air falls over the southern swamps of the Xhorhasian wastes, just east of the Ashkeeper Peaks, on this the 32nd of Sindistar, the 7th month of the year, you'll find yourself traveling in this medium-sized group, 40 to 60 people, that seems to be heading towards the capital city of Rossona. With many folks traveling within this caravan, you yourself have seen some join from the beginning. And you've also seen others join just for a few days, and then leave, coming and going, the group getting bigger and smaller and kind of fluctuating in size. As you know that traveling in a group is safer than alone, and it's much easier to protect oneself. This group is where you alone have found yourself for a short time so far. You find yourself carrying or riding your horse with a saddle, sitting atop of it. Naf, if you could go ahead and describe your character, please.
Sure. He is a human, simple human, early 40s, kind of black, shaved hair. It's very short, kind of small, 5'4". Doesn't look like he weighs much either. He's constantly hooded, and if you look underneath the hood a little bit, he has a bandage over his left eye.
Alright. Now, as you ride slowly on your horse in this caravan, this traveling caravan across the borders into Xhorhas, you find yourself speaking with a larger, older, half-orc man with grayish-green skin, scarred face, weathered skin, brown hair, and a general look of a life long lived. You've grown somewhat friendly with this gentleman, one of the very few people that you've taken some time to talk to and kind of get to know. You know that his name is Thrusk, Trusk. He looks at you as you're kind of riding and just passing time, and just says, Roshona is home to many who are looking to escape their past. You know, and even more for those trying to build a future. They're not really a lot of humans, but if you respect the culture, you're more than welcome to start a new life there. No one will kick you out. No one will disregard your preferences of life and culture and decisions. But you must yourself respect the culture that you're going to be heading into.
I just look at him and I kind of semi-twitchy, nervously. I just say, as long as it's safe.
Oh, it's safe. It's as safe as you can expect it to be in the wastes of Xhorhas. You currently find your caravan right about here on the map, kind of making its way along this river through this, just south, like I said, of the Ashkeeper Peaks between this other set, kind of making your way into the many hosts of Yggdrathad. As you're kind of just trying to keep yourself away from others, he looks up at you again, and he says, "I know that you're trying to find someplace that's safe. Are you trying to go to like a bigger city that's safe, or you want to go someplace that's a little more, shall we say, remote and not really ever looked for by the normal public?"
People the better.
Well then, I've never been there, but I've heard many people have told me about this village, this traveling village named Urzin. The village itself is on the back of these giant horizon-back turtles, and it just kind of wanders through the wastes, so you're never necessarily stuck in one place as much as you're stuck in one place.
Not safe.
It's safe. It's as safe as you can be, I think. At the mention of Urzin, a drow who happened to have been walking close to you with their hood pulled low, without really looking up at you, just kind of states under their breath, "That's my home. I'll guide you there if you choose, but you have to follow me when I peel off, since it's not always the easiest to find."
Yeah, that works.
All right. Well, after we camp tonight, we'll probably head up there tomorrow. So just follow me.
Okay.
As you pass the day and continue your travels through the many hosts of Yggdrathad, you see the caravan. You're about 3/4 of the way towards the rear, and this thing is very, very large as far as distance that it covers. You see it starts to come to a stop. The sun, a couple hours from setting in the sky, and the unloading of the caravan begins. You see that they're starting to set up camp. You've been with them for enough days now that you know that setting up a camp as large as this takes quite a few hours, and that utilizing the last few hours of sunlight of the day is kind of the norm. That makes it easy to be able to see what you're doing, kind of assess the dangers. Different groups will go out on patrol, they'll gather supplies, they'll make sure every place is safe. Looking around, you find that at this point, as you kind of get up to where the camp is, you have made your way right up here to the shores of a Fever Gulf Lake. Oh, that's not what I'm looking for. Oh, it's Fever Gulf Lake, this giant lake that you're beside. And Thrusk says, "Yeah, it's Fever Gulf. It's good for fishing, good for swimming, good for bathing." And he kind of goes to take care of setting up his tent for the night. Is there anything in particular you wish to do for the night?
Yes, before the night is over, I kind of do my best to walk to a spot of the lake, the edge of the lake where no one's really paying attention, and I kind of just undo the bandage over my eye and just wash it in the lake, and then, pop it right back on.
As you kind of walk that way and you're kind of washing out your eye, you see. I can't make this up. This is just too well named. So now I'm going to show you what it is. As you're washing up, you kind of see embedded in a stone in front of you what languages do you speak?
I speak Common, Deep Speech, Zemnian.
Okay. It's kind of like broken common, and it says, "Ahead of you, you see the eyes of the lake, and you see two large stones out in the middle of the lake." That's what the two little bits.
Does one of them reflect back into the empty socket?
Mm-hmm. Just slightly. So you go ahead and you wash out your eye socket as you kind of chuckle to yourself and rebandage it and chuckle to yourself that the eyes of the lake, which is ironic since you only have one.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else for the evening, or do you head back and set up camp?
I would head back and set up camp, kind of in a way of, I want people around me, but at the same time, I don't want people around me. So I set up camp in that kind of like, I can see people, people can see me, but I'm not close.
Okay. All right. So as you go and you set up camp for the night, um, traveling as far south as you could from the Pale Bank village in the graying wildlands, you find yourself in the Xhorhasian wastes, specifically in a place that you've read about in books, but you felt a calling to go and visit. You know this place to have once been a floating archipelago of cities, inhabited by Dragonborn, destroyed just over 2 decades ago from the Chroma Conclave assault that ran through Exandria. You find yourself amidst rubble and lost knowledge in the ruins of Draconia. You and your Dragonborn self. The feeling of personal attachment and history here is stronger than what it was for you in your village. Could you go ahead and describe what your character looks like, please, Greenie?
Okay, so Greenie is a medium-sized dragonborn. You know, the average size around like 5'10", 5'11". He is this bright green color that tends to stick out quite a bit, and he's no hair. I don't even know if Dragonborn has hair or not, but if they do, this one doesn't. And with really sharp, pointy teeth that become painfully obvious when his usual smile is on, and some floating horns just above his head.
Ooh. Very nice. As you start to kind of sit and study this place, and you're kind of exploring a little bit more. You've been here for a couple of days at this point. You have gotten to the point now where you have very much explored a lot, but this is what it looks like in general. The ruins of Draconia at this point. This place is cold. It's very cold, very icy. It's like there's a perpetual blizzard or ice storm that seemingly is holding the ruins and the history, partially, of Draconia in frozen stasis on the ground. You do feel at different points almost like a pulsation or a fire in your blood, almost like the draconic magic inside of you kind of wells up, almost wanting to erupt out, but you manage to withstand it and keep yourself together. There's not much light here, and the wind from the blizzard and the continuous ice storm constantly blows out your torches, but you're able to relight them without much hassle. It's just they keep blowing out. So you keep losing your source of heat and your source of light. But eventually, you do find a cave where you can pass some of your time and kind of reestablish yourself and get your clothes pulled back on nice and tight and snug. But as you wander through these ruins, you kind of let your mind wander, imagining what life here, when it was floating high in the sky, would have been like. Imagining a safer life for you and your family, a place where all Dragonborn were safe and free to live as they see fit. Explore all manners of studies and different methods of creation, whether it's mechanical, magical, musical, any other forms of artistic creation that you can imagine. But after a while of just letting your mind wander, you're always brought back to reality as the cold, bitter, biting, icy air chills you to your bones. You spent some time at this point, probably, we'll say probably close to a week in totality from when you got here and rested and just kind of studied and explored and figured out the safest way to walk through the ruins of Draconia. Is there anything in particular that you wish to try and look for or try and find while you're in this ruins of not even prehistoric, just a few decades old Dragonborn society?
He wouldn't be looking for really anything in particular. It's mostly he's there to learn about history of Dragonborns? What would happen like after a Dragonborn dies? Just like anything,
Okay.
just anything in general.
Roll me a investigation check.
Yes.
As you're reading, a lot of the stuff is in older Draconic. You can make out bits and pieces. You can see that there is sometimes you'll find they're looking specifically what happens to Dragonborn when they die. You seem to find that it's the same thing that happens to everyone. People die. There are funeral rites and funeral processions that Dragonborn go through, and you see an image of a larger, greater dragon, and then its death, and then images of many, many things coming to the site of its death, and then war. But that's about the best that you can get from your your natural one.
Yeah. Okay.
After after a while, you do end up heading out of Draconia, as you kind of figured that while you've explored a lot, there may be more to learn later. But currently, the ruins have not been excavated enough where you could safely travel any further into them without risking your own mortal life. And it's dark and scary and even colder the further in you would go. So you kind of make the decision to not. But you do start heading north down into this part of the land, kind of following the mountain down, following the water, because you know if you follow a river eventually, you'll find an open body of water which will at some point take you to civilization in some regard. So you make your way down following this river. And as you travel for probably a solid day, you're getting close to the evening of your second day worth of travel. You see in the distance a large campsite setting up on the water's edge of this lake, which seems to be the end of this river that you were following. You smell cooking meats and the sounds of many voices and even some music permeating from the setup off into the distance. As you make your way further and further towards the caravan, many people welcome you. They just kind of say, hey, kind of wave you over, kind of give you a quick tour of where things are. You see some people, however, are suspicious. They give you the side eyes and kind of turn away whenever you look in their general direction. Not like they have anything against you personally, they're just weary of strangers in general, which is kind of odd since this whole caravan seems to be made of strangers. But eventually, you are brought to a very older, very hardily built, dragon-looking woman. She looks not like any dragonborn that you've seen before, but you recognize that she is of some type of dragon descent. You know that in Wildemount there are different lineages of dragonborn. You just haven't necessarily met any that aren't of the same general dragonborn aesthetic as you. This lady, looking at her, she is a pale blue skin with long wispy white hair, no tail, a very hardily built orange eyes, kind of more looking humanoid than dragonkin. You think about it for a second and you realize this is likely what a Ravenite dragonborn is. She looks more human than dragon, but she still has some of that musculature of the dragonborn, of which you and your kin have. She kind of waves to you as you take notice of her, and she says, "Well, hello. I take it you're new. I've not seen you before."
Greeny puts on his best smile and yeah, I'm pretty new. I actually just got here.
Well, nice to meet you. My name is Imbach, Imbach Faisira, and you are?
I'm Greeny. I like to be called Greeny.
Oh, it kind of makes sense. Well, if that's your preference, that is your preference. I'm not one to judge a name. You're welcome to rest here for the night if you choose. You can travel with us to Rosona if you wish, or you can leave whenever suits you best. But I would say don't go travel the Wastes at night alone. It's the easiest way to, shall we say, get eaten.
I don't play a dude, trust me.
Okay, well, take a bowl of dinner, and she hands you a giant wooden bowl of this soup stew mixture, and then says, well, after dinner, you can follow that walkway over there, and the large brown tent with the flap that doesn't quite stay shut. That is where you may sleep. There is likely a cot and a bedroll in there where you can rest your head for the night.
I really appreciate this. Thank you.
Is there anything I can do for you right now? Any help you need?
No help necessarily. I sort of just want to make myself at home, get to meet people, you know?
Well, you've come to a caravan full of plenty of people who more than likely would like to be met. Not all, but some. So.
Alright. Well, it was good meeting you.
Well, have yourself a wonderful evening, and I hope to see you again soon. Oh, and don't leave and get eaten. We're not responsible for that.
I won't, don't worry. I'm very cautious.
Is there anything you wish to do for the rest of the night?
I would just mostly try to find the place where the most talking and laughter is, and try to incorporate myself into that group of people.
Okay. Go ahead and make then for me a perception check, just to kind of see. 15. Okay. And then we'll say to incorporate yourself in, you can either do a straight charisma check or a straight dexterity check to just kind of maneuver your way in there. Literally maneuver your way in. 'Cause, yeah.
I just forced myself.
It's like, hey
Oh,
guys.
damn.
Yeah, you listen out, and you see there are different pockets of people who are chatting. There are some smaller groups, 2 or 3 people who look like they probably have some type of relationship with each other, a little bit more close knit. And you see there are other larger groups of adventurers just swapping stories and telling tales and just kind of recounting things they've seen in their lives. And you find a group of about 10 people, which is a significant portion of this whole caravan, but they're everywhere in age, from like an older child to like 8 or 9 years old up to like say 75, 80-year-old. So you can slip in with that group there and just kind of sit, regale with them, listen to their tales, their stories, and you can talk yourself with them as well. No problem at all.
Great.
So you spend the majority of your night doing that, prior to having yourself a nice restful evening, and you end up making your way to bed. Alright. And now, you guys, the 2 of you, on your boat. The first few days to a week were pretty smooth sailing on the boat. No real challenge there. The last couple nights, however, have not at all been smooth sailing. You have gone from storm to storm to storm. Almost like you're hearing voices in the wind as the storm wind itself whips through the sails, almost tearing holes and shears in them. Just when you think the storm has died down, it's almost like you find your way into the eyes of the storms. Eventually, your captain does manage to sail through without losing a life after 2 or 3 people have made their way overboard, but they're sailors, they can swim pretty well. But he does eventually make it through the storms, landing you down here to the very southernmost point of the Wastes of Xhorhas. He calls out to the crew, "We have 2 more days of sailing before we're gonna make dock, so don't lose your head just yet." The first day goes by. not much goes on during the day. It's nice, smooth sailing, not a lot of wind, so you're not sailing super quickly. But as the second night comes, you see that there is no storm this night, but it's a very star-filled sky on this second night, which makes it very easy to guide to where you're trying to go, or where he's trying to have you go. Anything in particular either of you or both of you wish to do on this starry sailing evening?
I'm a little bit disappointed that the storms are over because it was exhilarating, and I think that was the first time I had experienced storms at sea, but it's also good that it's calm because I can get back to working on my star charts for this region of the country.
I think I'm just like reveling in the fact that the boat is relatively stable, and I've gotten myself like a nice cup of tea and a couple of biscuits that I made, and I'm just like heading on deck and finding just a place of calm serenity just to try to relax after these last few days of just not great weather and probably not great health for me given my seasickness.
Yes, it's definitely improved. Seasickness is still there, but not
Yeah,
anywhere
that's why I'm
near as
drinking
bad as it was.
peppermint tea.
Yes, yes.
I'm drinking peppermint tea. I don't know if that exists, but I'm assuming it does because
can.
it's not complicated.
It can now. So
Cannon.
there you go. So you guys make it through this night relatively unfazed, nice slow sailing on the open water. And as the morning draws close, you see the wind has picked up, and the ship does make it close to the land. And this smaller ketch that you're in is small enough that it can maneuver on larger rivers and lakes without having to dock far out to sea, but not small enough that it could make it super far inland. But as you do start to approach, and you guys have gotten to about here, you see that the captain drops the sails and orders the crew, yourselves included if you are able to pull the oars from the sides of the boat and manually bring the ship into the shallower waters of the lake, of Fever Gulf Lake. And as he steers and the crew row and maneuver towards the eyes of the lake, which is fairly close to where he docks, he ends up docking it right here because they're just giant rocks in the middle of the lake, but he can dock close to it and not have to worry about tipping or any kind of wreckage. You both find yourselves beginning to taste the air. It's still a little salty from the ocean, but now there's an acrid aftertaste of swamp and stagnated water. As you find yourselves arriving more to the inner portions of the shore of this lake, the sun beginning its descent into the sky. You see on the shoreline, opposite where you guys have landed on this edge of the rocks, you see a very large setup. Could be a traveling festival, a caravan, you're not quite sure. There are quite a few large tents, there are many people. You see lit campfires with smoke starting to slowly billow into the sky. The smell of firewood and freshly cooking meats are slowly starting to break through the acridness and landing welcoming on your taste buds and into your nostrils. As an artist and a far-traveling Ergonasi, you kind of find this image quite beautiful, almost as if it had been painted by a master artist. Could you go ahead and describe your character for me, please? Your Ergonasi.
Sure. Harry is probably in her late 20s, and like most Air Genasi, she always looks like there's some kind of, at least a breeze blowing on her. And sometimes it's a little unsettling because even if you feel a breeze going one direction, you might look at her and find that her hair and her clothing is billowing a little bit, like as if a wind from somewhere else is hitting her. She is very kind of frail looking, very, very pale skin, and you can, almost see her veins through it. She's got little, very almost imperceptible tattoos all over her body. They are silver. Um, they, show up if the light hits her, but otherwise you might not notice it. And she has really long, silverish but almost translucent hair, and it's in that big, like fantasy elaborate hair with some of it braided, some of it up, some of it down. And she's wearing basically like a linen tunic and long flowing pants, but over that she's got like a translucent shift that's got a little bit of blue tint to it, and it has little chips of mica all over it.
Nice. The smell of the unknown foods being cooked kind of pierced their way through your nostrils. Oh no, more than anything else. As a member of a tertiary branch of the Darrington Brigade, one of your primary focuses was to procure and cook new foods from anywhere and everywhere that you went. And of things that have interested you since you stepped foot on this boat, this campsite and the smells of this food just jumped to the very top of your interest list. It kind of fulfills your role in the Darrington Brigade, and it means that you're not going to be seasick for a little bit.
I'm so excited.
Could you go ahead and describe your character for me, please?
So, Ono is a young turtle woman. She's green in color with sort of a greenish, yellowish, beigeish shell. And she's on the short side for a turtle, but what she lacks in height, she makes up for in weight, because you can tell that not only does Ono like to cook, but she also likes to eat. And while she is at the shorter end, she is definitely at the average weight of a normal turtle, with her build just being very stocky, both in muscle and in fat. She looks very hearty, very girthy. She has sort of like a mixture of things sort of like strapped to her shell as a pack. She has a bunch of like pots and pans and spoons and spatulas. She also has like a great axe there as well. And she sort of walks around with sort of just a general fear, except, as you say, when there's food involved. The second that she recognizes something different, something that she hasn't cooked with before, she immediately, a light comes into her eyes, and she has a goal for the next 5 minutes, and nothing will stop her, not her anxiety nor her fear, but just her pure desire to go find out what this food is.
With that in mind, do you guys stay on the ship for the remainder of the evening, or do you hop
Hell
in one of the
nah.
tiny rowboats or in the water itself and go straight to the campsite?
I'm not a great swimmer, but I'm not terrible at it, depending on how far it is.
We'll say it's probably like 100 yards from your boat to theirs. That's from this side of the rocks too. So I mean, you could always hop off and swim over here and then run over, but that would probably be longer than just swimming through the water.
Right. I mean, if it's fastest, like hypotenuse-wise, for me to swim, I'll swim. I'm not fast at it, but I can do it.
Well, you have a little rowboat from your big boat. You just row.
Yeah, okay, I'll take a rowboat. I'll just take a rowboat.
Um,
I'm gonna go grab the rowboat and, I don't know, sort of try to not make eye contact with anybody, because like it's not my rowboat, but like nobody said I couldn't use it.
It's true.
Yeah, so I was just kind of trying to be not sneaky, but just kind of not obvious about it.
All right. No one stops you from taking this small little rowboat. If anything, they kind of laugh that a turtle person does not enjoy swimming, and they just kind of watch you throw this rowboat overboard and jump into
Just
it.
yeet it overboard and jump
Right.
into it. Yep.
Are you following suit, Carrie, or are you going to stay on the boat for the evening?
I actually think I would swim.
Okay.
Just for something different, and we've been kind of in salt spray and everything for a while, so yeah, I think I would just
Okay.
swim.
The water's not clear, but it's not gross. It's just kind of like lake water. So a mixture of fresh and salt water and some swamp water, all kind of like meandering in this stew pot of not the best water. I wouldn't advise drinking it without a purification magic. But upon arriving at the land, you see there are plenty of people all around. You following your nose, oh no. You can see in this larger tent there seems to be a line of people waiting to be served some type of food. There's a few giant pots that seem to all be orchestrated and under the control of a dragonborn-esque looking woman with no tail, as I described earlier. This is the lady in charge of making sure everyone gets their fair share of food and no one is cheating.
Now,
getting
is
bored.
this like a serving place or a cooking place? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. As you kind of approach and walk into the tent, you see that closer to the entrance, there are a few tables set up for serving, and behind them, you see there are a few makeshift stoves and campfires kind of set up. And as you kind of look, you can see that at the back of the tent there is an open flap, and you can see there are larger pits out back where they have even more giant pots where they're boiling waters and cooking the hardier vegetables and things that need more time to cook, that they don't want to risk overheating the inside of the tent and making people pass out from heat exhaustion. So it's both. It's a makeshift kitchen and serving setup.
So whether it's the makeshift stovetop situation or like the people by the fires, whichever has more of like that scent of like I don't recognize that food is where I want to go to.
Okay. Yeah. You'll probably in the serving line, as it's the finished product. You recognize a few ingredients that are cooking outside, some meats and some vegetables, but the overall smell that is just attracting you, and kind of like the cartoon on like the Tom and Jerry cartoon where they float to the pie smell coming out of the window.
Yep.
I like to imagine that's how you're being dragged into this tent,
Yes.
just like that.
100%. I had the same visual.
It takes you right up to the lady who is serving, and she looks at you and goes, "To the back of the line. I'll serve you in due time. It's merely a 2-minute wait, so please, no rush."
I'm sorry, I don't actually necessarily need some. I just want to know what's in it.
I'll give you a bowl and you can find out for yourself, dear.
Okay then. And like does not fight beyond that. Goes meekly to the back of the line.
All right. As Ono makes their way to the back of the line waiting for food, Carrie, are you following in to get food, or are you going somewhere else in this camp?
I think I'm more interested in just sort of looking around, seeing if I can figure out, what this group is. Just kind of curious.
Roll an insight check as you kind of walk around the group and kind of make eyes on the groups.
Yeah.
You can kind of put together that there's not necessarily a specific goal other than they all seem to be traveling the same direction. You hear people mention Rasona multiple times, so you imagine that might be the destination to which they're going, but as you're kind of walking from group to group, you never quite get enough conversation picked up to know exactly if that is where they're going, or if that's the end goal plan, or if this is just a giant traveling caravan of a random group of strangers.
Okay.
So, you do, however, notice the group where there seems to be 10 to 15 people just being quite lively, talking quite a lot, and you see there is a green dragonborn almost at the center of it all, kind of making themselves known, but then making themselves not the center of attention, kind of weaving in and out of conversation quite studiously. Like this is something that they've been doing for a long time. So that catches your eye only because there aren't, other than, well, he's the only dragonborn you've seen so far, because you haven't seen the cook lady, so he is the only person of scaled descent that you've seen.
Does this seem to be someone, can I tell if this is someone in charge? Or if this is like some kind of meeting going on, you know what I mean? Just like...
Roll another insight check.
Okie dokie. Let's see if I can do just as good.
It doesn't seem to be like there's any one person in charge, at least of this group. It just seems to be a group of friendly people just having a ball, just talking to each other, swapping stories, telling tales. Every now and again, somebody will burst out in like a bardic tune. Somebody will try and read a poem and get booed, but jokingly. People just basically a bunch of people who are just getting to know each other, just sitting around the campfire, shooting the shit, and talking about life.
Okay.
While while all of this is happening, Naf, you kind of come back from clearing out your eye. As you finished up, you kind of saw a small ketch kind of dock right at the right side of the two rocks, the two eyes of the lake. You see they dock, and you see, as it's not super far away, and the sun is still kind of up, it is still setting as you saw this happen. You did see someone just launch a boat, like a small rowboat, off of the bigger boat and jump into it, and then a second person jump into the water and swim towards the lake's edge, towards where this campsite is, and kind of split off in their own directions. One heading into what you know to be the food tent, and the other one kind of meandering, like they're looking through different groups of people, but you're not quite sure. Anything in particular you do, or do you just head to bed?
I think for bed, I would very, not stealthily whatsoever, but actively try and avoid people kind of walking through the campsite while heading towards the food line. Kind of that, like, you know, someone looks at me, I kind of just pull my hood a bit further down, kind of avert my eye,
Okay. Yeah.
and walk towards the food tent.
All right. As you walk to the food tent, you go to the back of the line as you're accustomed to doing from the days that you've been traveling with them, and you see someone you haven't seen before. You see this turtle-like person kind of waiting a few people ahead of you, almost waiting impatiently, like they're trying to get to the front quickly. Those are not words. More quickly.
Quickler and Quickie.
Yes.
I like Quickler.
Perfect.
word.
Perfect words.
Quickler is the villain from.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
He's the villain from that one movie, The Lorax, the Quickler.
Oh my god.
I've only seen that movie one time years ago. Anyway, yes, you see this turtle-like person a few people ahead of you, and eventually, Ono, you do make your way to the front of the line as each person is served in tandem quite quickly. You get through the line probably in 2 or 3 minutes. It's not a very long way. They're very efficient in serving people and getting them on their way so they can enjoy the rest of their night with a full belly. And as you get to the front, you see this dragon-like muscular woman. Says, "Well, you seem to be a new face."
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to intrude. I really just wanted to know what was in it. I know this isn't my group of people or my food or anything. I don't want to take it from anybody, but it just smelled so good, and I needed to know what was in it.
This food is for anyone who spends time with us. It is for any and all. We turn none away. We're all just trying to make our way in the world today, and you are more than welcome to have a bowl and see what you enjoy for yourself. But I will tell you, it has some vegetables that are local to the Ashkeeper Peaks, some hardy root vegetables, and we fished up quite a few waterfowl today as we were traveling from the peaks to the lake, out of the river. So waterfowl and vegetables is about the best I can give you, as I do not cook it myself. I am mainly the organizer. So
Who did cook it?
she kind of looks over her shoulder and points back, and you see a few dwarven folk just chopping and boiling and cooking and like reaching into their side pouches and just throwing handfuls of like spices and herbs, little like baseballs, just like throwing them at their food. They are not measuring. They're being as liberal as they can be to give this food flavor. So
Ono, like, is so torn because she is a cook, but at heart she's a baker, and baking is not like that. Baking is exact. She does cook and she does enjoy cooking, but there's almost a little bit like of just astonishment at the the lack of care in her mind thrown into this cooking. But she kind of like she takes her bowl and kind of like starts to see like okay, she's like there's new foods, new like main parts of this. Are there any like spices or anything that she can kind of glean or in here? Like she's trying to figure out like what she could take into her own cooking if she wasn't in this exact area.
So you
I don't
kind of
know what sort of
yeah. So you
I
kind
don't
of
know if that's
you
a
look
tech
at
of some sort.
you look at some of their techniques, and you recognize some of the spices. Dwarven spices are not necessarily uncommon. You don't have many on you per se. But go ahead, you spice, and roll me a
Spice check?
spice check.
I'm sorry.
We'll do a. I'm gonna say do intelligence plus proficiency on your top of a d20, as that'll be that'll be your cooking tools check for this one specific check.
I'm realizing that I don't actually know if I set up the thing to roll properly, so I'm gonna roll a d20, and then we're gonna find out what I add to that. Oh,
It'll be 2 because that's your proficiency plus whatever your intelligence modifier is.
so that's a 4.
Okay, so 4. You're looking and you're just like, you don't. They're moving very quickly, and they're moving.
Does it also taste as good as it smells?
Oh, it tastes better than it smells.
Great.
Yes, I will
Then
say though that
the
if you want,
sadness of not really gleaning much information is just gained in how good the food is. She's very content.
yes, you definitely will say that you have 1 out of 3 because you didn't. No, 1 out of 5. 1 out of 5 successes because you can't technically fail unless you roll a nat 1. You can't ever technically fail a like tasting check for spices and foods since you're a chef. So you have 1 out of 5 successes for getting dwarven food bonus, which I don't know what the bonus is going to be yet. So you have 1 out of 5 successes on that though, because you spent some time you observed them, and the observation of how they don't necessarily measure, they just liberally spice stuff. That's kind of where the success comes from. So.
Okay. I kind of want her to like sort of ask like if they need any more help in the kitchen, I guess, like if she would be able to sort of shadow them over the next couple days, completely forgetting about the Darrington Brigade that she has like goals with right now. She's very food oriented.
Yeah. She says, well, yeah, I'm only gonna be here till tomorrow though. I'm making my way to Urzen, so you can come with me to Urzen and study my ways if you want, or you can go into Rosona with the rest of them. It's up to you, but I'm going to Urzen tomorrow, so you can come if you want though.
Oh, I'm sorry, I don't actually know where I'm going.
Well,
but
Urzen,
I know where to find you.
Urzen looks like you. Sorry, that's very inappropriate and stereotypical, and I'm sorry. I know what it's like when people put you all together. No, I apologize. Urzen, if you've not heard of it, is a city, or a village, I guess, that's on the back of giant tortoises. They move.
I mean, I know I'm sort of big, but I'm not that giant.
No, these things are like, they can hold 20,000 pounds big.
Oh, that is big.
You should come. They got good food there.
Well, that does sound fun. I do like good food. I guess I should talk to my, And she kind of like mumbles off, and she's like not really sure what to call the Darrington Brigade to her. It's not like, oh, I need to go ask my mom. It's not like, oh, I need to go like talk to my friends. It's somewhere not in between. Maybe it's my go talk to my boss. I don't know. She doesn't know how to articulate the relationship that she has.
Fair.
And whatever, maybe she'll try and like ask for like a little bit of seconds as she kind of like walks away. She's feeling kind of awkward and doesn't want to hang out with these people anymore after she's been looking over their shoulders for the past who knows how long.
right. And so she basically says, "Well, you can come and watch longer if you want, but we're pretty much done cooking for the night. This is our last batch. Put it out there, and then we're all going to bed because it's late and I'm tired. But you got places to stay here if you want." Points down towards the big tent, big brown tent. She says, "We all stay in there. It holds pretty much everybody. There's cots, there's bedrolls. We can talk shop if you
Thank
want,
you.
but you know."
I do like talking about. Oh, I might find you later.
All right.
And she just like skitterly runs out as she's already put out all of her human interaction, or not human interaction, but people interaction for the day.
Okay. So you see, Naf, you see this turtle lady just go whoop, skittering right on out of the tent back outside, and you're handed your bowl of food as you are. I missed that joke real bad. As you're used to getting fed multiple times a day, so you standing in line seeing people that you've not seen before isn't new, but that was just a strange interaction. But unless any of you have anything in particular you wish to accomplish for the rest of the night, you can bed down wherever you would like.
I would kind of like to, go up to the woman that kind of seems to be in charge, at least of the, grub line,
Absolutely.
and say, excuse me, are you in charge of this?
Mm, by this, do you mean the food, or do you mean like this? And she like waves her arms in big circles about meaning like the entirety of the
Yeah.
caravan.
Yes, this, and I mimic the everything move.
Oh, it's difficult. I'm in charge of making sure that those that travel are fed and nourished. But I am not the navigator, but I do know where we're going. We've made this trip many times. It's more of a collective. The people who have made this trip, the leaders don't always stay the same. I myself, once we get to Rasona, are probably going to stay there for a few months before I travel back and make this trip again. These old bones aren't what they once were. But whenever we go to Rasona and we restock, we pick up those who wish to travel back into the Empire, and we make our way back through the peaks, and then we kind of find the town that we're going to, and we turn around and do the same thing back. We're more of a traveling carrier service that provides safety for those who just wish to travel the lands in a larger group rather than
Oh.
risk death.
I see. And you go to Rosona.
Yes. Not everybody goes there. We do have a few who are going to be peeling off in the morning and heading up to Erzin, the traveling village. We have others who are going to peel off when we get closer to Rasona and the Barb Fields and go to Bazuzan. A few others will probably peel off when they peel off from the Erzin group and go up to Jigao, up to the most northern portion of Xhorhas. We have people who travel and peel off and come back quite often. So, yes.
How is it permitted to join the group?
You just kind of show up and don't cause a fuss and help out when help needs to be helped.
Oh, I believe I could do that if I might join.
You're very welcome to. Did you come in on that boat? And she points to your boat, and as you see it now, the boat seems to be leaving Fever Gulf Lake and rowing back out to sea.
Yes, from the Menagerie Coast to here.
Well, you're quite away from home, and it looks like you're not going to be going back the same way you came.
Oh, Menagerie Coast, not home, but where I came from.
Oh. Well, you can stay with us if you choose. You can also leave whenever you choose, but you're welcome. So, here. And she shoves a bowl of food your way, seeing as it's one of the... There doesn't seem to be that many more people in line. There seems like 2 others in line, and there only seems to be a few more bowls worth of food, and she passes them out as she's continuing her conversation with you. And you see as this giant pot, this 30-gallon steel pot, seems to become empty of food, it gets kind of laid on the ground, and she just kind of brushes her hand around it a couple times, and it's just magically cleaned. You know this to be the prestidigitation spell, as you've seen people clean with magic before. It's not an uncommon enchantment.
So I just sort of give her a little, hands together, slight bow. Say, I thank you. I will travel with you.
Well, if you need a place to stay, she kind of waves her hand over to the giant brown tent with the flap swinging open. There should be plenty of beds in there. If not, then obviously you can make camp wherever you see fit, or if you have your own camping equipment, you can use that too. So, but you
You
are
are
welcome to stay there.
you are very kind. I prefer to sleep outside.
That's your choice. No one will oblige you to sleep anywhere you don't wish to. So, with that though, I do want to go get myself cleaned up, and I'm quite tired. So I myself am going to retire for the evening. And she actually heads to the giant brown tent. It seems that she also sleeps there.
So if there's anything like a big rock somewhere near where sort of most people are hanging out, I think that Carrie would go just kind of put a blanket down so that she's leaning up against the rock, and that's just where she would sleep.
Yeah, you can absolutely find a big rock and sleep up against that, no problem. So you set up your sleeping spot against a nice big rock. The night tonight is quite clear. There are a couple clouds that blow by every now and again, but you fall asleep quite easily. Naf, you end up making camp in your tent that you have, I assume, not in the giant brown tent with all the other people.
You assume correct.
Okay. And then, Oh No and Greenie, you can set up camp and sleep wherever you would like.
I was actually going to ask if Ono could be trying to blend in with the group of rocks that, like, she doesn't have to be the rock, but she's trying to just hide amongst the rocks.
Roll me a
And-
stealth check because you have a shell and can look kind of rocky. At
Yeah,
advantage.
that's-
Stealth at advantage.
Really want to yeah.
Give me one more because
Ooh.
you can have at advantage.
Oh!
Yeah.
Well,
What's your bonus?
-1.
Oh, so 15? That still
Yeah.
works. You sit down beside it, and as long as you don't move from afar, people might think you're a rock.
I'm a rock.
I'm a rock.
See the rock I'm leaning against? That's what I really want.
In the middle of the night, she just rolls over and you thump.
Yeah.
If you want it to be, sure. Greenie, where are you posting up for the eve?
I would go to the big tent with everyone else.
Okay. So you make your way to the big tent. The party of conversation seems to carry into the tent, and as you guys make your way into the tent, laughing and have a good time, you enter to a barrage of like socks and rolled up pieces of cloth as people are like, "Shut up, we're trying to sleep." Just boom, 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 boom. Just like boom, 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 just hit in the face with a bunch of dirty socks. And then everyone kind of laughs because some of the people that you were having a good time with are definitely a little on the inebriated side of life. But they kind of laugh it off, throw the socks back, and then end up going and just like passing out on their cots with their equipment. So as the sun finishes setting and the moon rises and you all lay down for the evening, you all complete your night's rest. You would get anything back if you had anything that you had lost, which you had not. But as you wake up at first light, the sun kind of piercing through, catching the eyes of those who slept outside first and kind of waking up naturally with the sun as you have been while on the boat. The rest of the camp begins to awaken and kind of mobilize. You see that everyone kind of does their own thing for breakfast, almost like they're eating trail rations. It seems that the food that they serve is more of like a once a day kind of end of day meal thing where everyone kind of gets together and they serve food that way. They use the day for foraging and fishing and hunting while they're traveling. But you you all awake, and you see once everyone's up and moving around, they start to tear down the large tent. They start to like pack away all of the traveling equipment, all of their camping equipment, and start to saddle up their horses, start to put everything together for another day of traveling. And it's a very well-oiled machine in the way that this gets done. Like those, you can tell those that have been doing this longer than others because they have everything tore down and set up in minutes, whereas the few others require additional help, as this is not necessarily seems to be something they do regularly. But you all do kind of see, standing under a well-shaded tree, is this person. It looks to be a darker-skinned elven person who is standing up taller than you might expect. It's almost like they're floating, not too far, only a couple of feet off the ground. And you hear them call out, say, "I'm going to Erzin. Anybody coming to Erzin? Let's go. We're going right now. So if you're coming to Erzin with me, let's go." And she's trying to wave in anybody that wants to go to Erzin to follow them.
Is this the drow that I
Yes,
spoke with?
it is the same drow
I
that you
would
spoke with.
hop on. I would pack everything up and hop on my horse and start heading.
As you arrive, they look at you and they nod. You see that they've pulled their hood down a little bit since they're in the shade. They're not quite as they don't feel as victimized by the sun. It looks like they have their hood pulled back, so you can see their face. They don't have any necessarily strong masculine or feminine features. They have like a pale, almost lilac-colored skin with dark black eyebrows and shorter, like a little bit lower than the ears, black hair with some curls. And they look at you and they just kind of nod, acknowledging that you said you were interested in going with them yesterday. And they go, "Well, it's gonna be a few minutes. We're still waiting to see if anybody else is coming. Right now, it's just me and you. So, which is fine. It's not a problem at all. But I want to give it probably another 15 minutes, see if anybody's interested before we make haste."
Greenie would walk up to him and, what is Erzin?
Well, Erzin is a village that is on the back of these gargantuan tortoises, basically.
Really? That sounds pretty interesting. Where's the caravan heading to now?
Rosona.
What's that?
It's one of the main capital cities in the Xhorhas.
Ah, okay.
If you're looking for adventure or something different, Erzin might be the way to go.
Yeah, well, I mean, right now I'm sort of just going anywhere.
Well,
Good.
the city walks.
Hey, yeah, that seems really cool. Hey, what's your name?
My name? Oh, I'm sorry, not many people have asked me my name. Where did I write the date? My name's Zilra. Zilra. Zilra.
Ah, okay. You know what? I'll tell you what. I'll get my bags and I'll come back here and I'll check out this Erzin place.
All right. Well, we're gonna leave in about 15 minutes. So.
All right.
And they float a little bit higher, and you hear them call out louder. Last call for Erzin. Anyone interested in going to the walking village, please come now.
Would she still be asleep on me at this point?
No, you guys have awoken to the sun in your
Okay.
face.
I don't think I ever
Cool.
noticed it was you.
Yeah. No, my goal is that like she
Mhm.
realizes, oh shit, she started to sleep on me. I'm not gonna move. I'm not gonna move, and then waits for you to move, and then gets up. Realizes that the ship is gone, and is like, well, fuck, and starts looking for that person who had the food from yesterday, who said that they could follow her for food, because she's like, well, my friends are gone. All I know is food. So
You actually,
she probably finds.
as you hear this lilac-skinned, elven-looking person yell out about Urzen, you actually see the dwarven person that you spoke with yesterday kind of walk over, kind of fist bump them, and start walking. Like they're just taking off on their own to walk up towards Urzen. Like they know the way. They've been there before. So they start going, but yeah, they met up. So you saw them go. They said that's where they're going. So you're welcome to join them if you want, or do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go towards them, I guess, because food.
Mm-hmm.
So did you say that Zilra is floating?
Yep. Probably at this point 3 or 4 feet off the ground.
Would I clock this as being something familiar?
It is magical,
Okay.
but it doesn't seem like there is any. As you kind of stare from a distance, there doesn't seem to be like any breeze or any wind moving them in any way. They just seem to be floating.
Okay. So not necessarily an innate quality like I might have.
Correct.
Okay.
It doesn't seem
well,
to. It doesn't even seem to be of that same magical nature.
Okay. I'll just say that I had sort of gotten a little bit closer just because I noticed that, and I was trying to, suss out if it was another Air Genasi, and I heard that conversation about Urzen.
Yeah, you definitely see with your passive perception, oh no, just walking towards where Urzen was.
Yeah.
Following her nose.
So I will go ahead and go up to Zilra and say, I heard you speak of Urzen?
Yes. She kind of, or they kind of levitate down as to not be 9 feet tall at this point with their heads, since they're only about 5.5 feet tall, but they were floating a solid 4 feet off the ground, so they're like 9.5 feet in the air. They float back down to only a couple of inches off of the ground, and look, you go, yeah, the walking village. That's where we're headed. And she kind of points, and you see they point to the 3 others that are around, as well as the dwarf you just see marching off. Like they're power walking because they have short,
Right.
stubby legs, but they are power walking north.
I thought to go to Rosanna, but I have never seen these tortoises. So, might I join your party?
Absolutely, all are welcome. So,
Thank you.
and she looks down at, or they look down at you. Oh no, are you coming too?
Oh, I get if you don't mind, they said I could learn how to cook, and
Oh,
I mean I already know how to cook, but I wanted to learn how to cook like they do.
oh, absolutely, it's fine. You can come. But I think, what about already? And you see that of those who are here, only one currently has a horse, and so you see that Zora kind of waves their hand together and starts to chant for about a minute, and they make 2 magical steeds just appear in mirrored reflection of the horse that you are riding on. Now, so there are 2 spectral-looking horses, and then your horse, and she, or they, look at the green dragonborn and say, "You can hop on the horse with me.
All right.
This is your guys' horse if you want it. I can only summon 2, so you have to share."
I'm not sure if that horse wants to carry me.
They go, "Oh,
It's like
hold
she's
on
like
1 second."
weirdly self-conscious and not self-conscious. Like she's like, I am big. Horse is also big.
They modify
I
the
can-
spell just a little bit, and they turn it into effectively a Clydesdale.
I can ask it to do so. It is a spell, but I could ask it.
Well, it's a bit bigger now, so I think it might not mind. Do you mind? She just like flat out just asks the horse, I guess.
The horse just looks at you and just kind of leans its head down, as for you to like climb on the back of its neck to get on its back.
Cool. It's super ungraceful, her getting up on this horse. Like it is not experienced or graceful. It's just like flopping and sliding her way up onto the horse.
All right.
I think I was about to like maybe offer to help, but then I suddenly clock who you are. And I'm like, "Oh, you are from the ship.
Oh,
The boat, you are the cook?"
yes, I was the cook. I'm sorry my cooking wasn't as good as theirs was.
Oh, there was nothing to complain of.
They didn't give me lots of ingredients.
Is on a ship you cannot carry much.
I had to. They told me I could go pick some things, but then they told me I had to bring half of it back because they couldn't fit it on the boat.
I am sorry that I caused you to fall over.
It happens all the time. I'm sort of used to it by now.
Well, I did not know whether to startle you or let you step into my ink.
Step into your what? Um, Anywho, I'm sorry that I was quiet and rude, and I was just scared, and I
No,
should have
no.
let you help me up or something. I spent all night like that.
Oh, oh dear. I should have come back to check, but you said no help.
I I got out eventually. It just took a really long time.
Ah, well, it was not your fault. As I say, I startled you,
I just feel
and I
bad
will
for the
try
man.
not to. I will try not to again.
I'm easily startable. It's all
Ah,
right.
You see that the drow person pulls up their hood, pulls up their mask, and pulls some goggles down to like really cover their face. They have gloves on, and they are covered head to toe in sun-blocking fabric, almost like they're looking like a thief in the middle of the day. And they look around,
Same.
and they're just like, "Well, I guess we're going." Hiya! And just like snaps the reins and takes off. Go ahead and make a dex saving throw for me, Greenie.
Falls right off.
Oh my god. You hold on, but barely. As they snap the reins and the horse like kneels, like kicks up with the 2 feet in the air, you grab onto their cloak, and the horse jolts forward and just starts taking off, galloping north. You managed to regain your composure, but that was you almost went off head first to the ground. And you just hear this chuckle coming from the rider of this horse in front of you.
I mean, at first he's like completely startled, but once he gets back his grip, he puts on his giant grin and sort of chuckles with him.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Do the other riders of the horses, do the other 3 of you follow?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I wait until the others take off, so I'm in the back.
Okay. So you guys take off. It's with your horses, it's it's probably 3 or 4 days to get up here, but they know quite a few shortcuts because they're from this region. So instead of just directly having to go from like here directly up of almost 400 miles, they actually manage to, they take you this way first to the mountains, and then they kind of, this isn't going to be the right scale, but there is a mountain pass that you can take on which avoids all of the difficult terrain of the Bloodwalk and the Broken Back Marsh, and eventually, I'm just going to do this, you eventually get to Urzen, or you get to the outskirts of Urzen after, instead of the 4 to 5 days it was going to take, you get there in about 2 to 3, because they push this ride hard. It's like they are going there on a mission. And as you guys approach and get there, you, oh, that's not the right one I wanted. Get out of here. This is what I wanted. As you guys approach, you see that you guys are being, as you guys approach Urzen, you start to smell it before you see it. The rank odors of the Broken Vale Marsh mingle with the musty aroma of a fleet of gargantuan reptiles as you traverse the rickety rope bridges above Urzen. You've arrived into the village. The strange goblinoid village moves slowly and endlessly through the swampy Xhorhasian wastes. Its structures set atop the massive shells of horizonback tortoises. Urzen's monstrous residents pay you little heed until you approach this large, ramshackle hall of what Zilra tells you is for Ogre Lord Bufal II. This is a towering structure of haphazard timber and scrap, and it looks like this. You should see it. Should all be in your journal now.
Oh yeah.
Yep, that is what the village is on top of, and those can carry 20,000 pounds. So they're gargantuan, large tortoises. As you guys approach, do you enter the hall after Zora, or do you just explore the town?
Through the ride, was I able to like get any cooking experience?
Yes.
I know we were pushing pretty hard.
Yeah,
but,
go ahead and roll me. We'll just say roll 2d100, and anything over 75 will be a success added into your thing. So
Oh man.
you got close. You got close on the second day, but you, in the middle of it, you were the dwarven lady who was teaching you got way too drunk, and right as she was about to teach you, like finish the recipe for you, just passed out.
Yep, that tracks.
Yes, and it takes.
We just got a little bit too
She'd been
drunk.
drinking the whole ride, the whole day. Took a lot, but she got there. But yeah, you guys. I don't know if there's a. I don't think there's a picture for the hall. There's not. But yeah, so you guys have this giant ogre lord ramshackle hall that you've approached, and Zora has walked in and kind of waved you to come in, but obviously she's not going to force you, or they're not going to force you to come in, but they wave and they walk in themselves.
Totally going in.
Okay.
I guess this probably would have been a good thing to do earlier, but I guess I want to try and like say hi to the tortoise.
Oh, absolutely.
Like it just has to be like a thank you for carrying this city, like really awkward hello. But that's what she would like to do when they get here.
What languages do you speak?
I speak Aquan, Common, Draconic, and Celestial.
Okay. What's interesting is the tortoise doesn't actually speak any of those languages. You can talk to it, but it doesn't seem to understand what you're saying. But as the goblins who are keeping its armor in check, keeping it kind of clean, putting food in its mouth, like just basically feeding it trees, are speaking to it in Goblin, it seems to understand Goblin. So it, like, acknowledges them.
I almost picked Goblin is my language! I'm
It-
so angry at
It
myself
kind
now.
of groans at them, but it doesn't ever speak back. It just kind of like.
I mean, I feel like it also doesn't take a ton of language to understand hi and a
No.
wave,
It sees you
which
waving.
is all I'm going for.
And this eyeball, which is probably the size of your body, just blinks at you very slowly and reopens again. And you do see the as the eye goop just kind of separates the eyelids as it reopens slowly.
I'm a little grossed out, and I continue on. Maybe I like try to catch up with the other people as I realize that I've gone off on a completely a random direction, and I'm like, shit, I'm lost.
What are the other two of you doing?
I would very cautiously enter the building.
Okay.
Naf is very twitchy as he walks, constantly looking behind him, and yeah.
Okay. And you, good sir, Greenie?
Greenie would also enter.
Okay. As the three of you enter, after probably 2 or 3 minutes, you see coming in is a very out of breath turtle person. Also, during this ride, did any of you who didn't already know each other introduce yourselves to each other, or talk to each other, or just kind of pushing through hard?
Absolutely no introductions for me.
Oh god.
I definitely would have tried to ask for everyone's name at least,
Okay.
and maybe like a hobby of theirs or something. But
All right.
I mean, if they're just like no conversation, I'm not gonna push it.
I mean, you probably can find Ono cooking at some point, and glean that her hobby is cooking. And she'd be like, if you asked her name, she'd say it, maybe ask you for yours, and then be like, I'm done. I can't handle any more human interaction today.
I would definitely make conversation, polite conversation if approached. But like, for instance, I would not necessarily seek people out unless they are just like directly in my face or whatever.
All right.
So Naf doesn't have to worry about.
So 4 people who don't necessarily like to talk to each other grouping up. Perfect. I like it. As all parties should be.
The
Mhm.
antisocials! Woo!
um,
We're AA, the awkward antisocials.
there you go. As
Here's our
you
name.
as you guys enter the hall of Ogre Lord Bufal II, the din of the swamp and the hushed chatter of Urzen's residence is muted as you step through the folds of a heavy leather curtain into the chamber beyond. There, the reek of the marsh is quickly replaced by a favorable scent of roasted meats and spiced wine. Orc attendants gesture you towards a litter of dingy furs before the seat of Bufal II, who allows you to settle in before his baritone voice issues a welcome. Eat, drink, but be wary. For the Empire has come to Xhorhas, bringing damnation with it. And then he sits down to eat.
Oh yeah, let's see.
I find the furthest seat away from any living being.
Okay. As you all sit down and you all, I assume, partake in the food that they have
Is the
offered to
food
you.
good?
The food is
I'm
100 the
really
best.
sorry for the number of times
It
that
is
I'm gonna
like-
ask about food.
It is like way better than anything you've had in a while, but also not the best thing you've ever had. It's really decent.
It's really solidly decent.
Yes, it's really solidly decent. The spiced wine is a little more spice than it is wine, but it's okay.
It's simultaneously disappointing and like intriguing to the palate.
Yes, the spices definitely are way too floral in your nasal passages, and it makes you want to sneeze every time you drink it.
Achoo!
Bless you.
So I was sticking pretty close to Zilra, And after that sort of welcome, I turn to her and I say, is that a typical thing to say at the beginning of the meal? Is this warning against the Empire?
I would say that you being in a new country, um, you wouldn't. This isn't something you've heard before. Normally, like being over in Marquette or in not Marquette, over in the Menagerie Coast or the Dwendalian Empire, you it'll be here in just a couple minutes. Um, you don't normally hear people just proclaiming that the Empire brings with it damnation.
Right.
As you know, most of the time you're in Empire or um, the Menagerie Coast, who don't have horrible relations with them, but also aren't actively or weren't just actively at war with them. So, all right. Oh, I also now I need to pee too. So let's do this.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. Let's do this. Let's go ahead and take. Say you guys want a 5-minute break or a 10-minute break? What you feeling?
10, please.
All right, let's do 10. Let's get back here. We'll say 12. Get back here at 5 till, and that should work.
All right.
So, all right.
Cool.
All right. We are back, and you guys, last we left, were chowing down on the food and drink that Ogre Lord Bufal II, this giant ogre, provided. As the meal progresses, you see him every now and again turn and kind of lean over to Zora, and he speaks with Zora a little while, and then he kind of turns to the four of you, as you are clearly outsiders to this table, as this table is full of very goblinoid-looking folk between ogre and goblin and hobgoblin and people like that. Like, you're not unwelcome, you just very clearly all stick out. Like
What,
sore
there's
thumbs.
no turtles in this place?
Just the one you're riding on, and it's much bigger than you. But he explains that he is the current leader of the village for the last 40 years, because his father was slain by the Kryn Paragon Sunbreaker Alaman. Since then, he's seen a slow swell of discontent among Urzin's goblin population, who labor tirelessly to execute the Kryn dynasty's clandestine agendas. And an increasing number of his residents look to him and his advisors for leadership, despite the dynasty's overt hold on the area. And then you see a look of concern kind of washes over his face. And he says that three days ago, one of his most trusted advisors, his most trusted counselor, the goblin witch Bolbara, journeyed to the footholds of the Broken Veil Bluffs to the west, where she regularly forages for ritual components for spells and magic. But she didn't come back. And since then, he has no idea what happened to her, but he knows that the Dwendalian Empire patrols, their patrols have been spotted in the area in previous weeks, and the patrols themselves strike out from an outpost known as Fort Venture, which watches over the Broken Veil Bluffs. As you're learning more about her, he describes her as an elder villager who remembers the reign of the first Bufal, his father. She became Urzin's chief lore master and a pivotal ally in both the ongoing battle against the Empire and the enduring struggle against the cruel environs of the Xhorhasian swamps. Because even though the war at large is kind of at peace, it doesn't mean that every fort and every detachment is going along with it. If they can implement their power over others and reap whatever rewards they want to reap, they're still going to try and do that until otherwise deterred. You do know from him that she's not just a witch. She gets her magic from some patron. They know, it's very common knowledge that Balbara is a warlock, but they don't know who her patron is or very much about them at all. And the village, and Bufal especially, fears that without her arcane protections and political guile, that the people of Urzin will grow submissive to the Kryn dynasty's whims, making them a more notable target for imperial reprisals. And he kind of, as he finishes telling you a little about her, he waves his arm and more food and more drink is set before you. And he grabs a giant mug, which is about the size of a normal human head, and just downs it, slams it on the table to grab everyone's attention once more as they started to drift into their own conversation. And he looks at the four of you and says, "If you go find her, I'll pay you. I'll give you 200 gold, and I'll give you premium weapons. That's my deal."
When he slams the cup onto the table, just as kind of like a nervous tick to the loud sound, the sudden sound, Naf kind of instinctively trying to keep it hidden what he's doing, but it's kind of like an instinctive tick of he reaches kind of into his cloak and is just clutching, just holding it as tight as possible. He's clutching the handle of the dagger.
I was gonna say sort of a similar like fear response to the sudden noise. Oh no, just like pops all of her limbs and her head into her shell, but she's like presumably like sitting.
Yep.
So it's just like the shell like sitting up on this chair, like not falling over because it's in between the head of the chair and the table. And it's a really bad hiding place because like, well, it's not really a hiding place, it's more of like a shock response, but yeah.
Yeah, Greedy sort of just looks around the table in sort of confusion. Like, okay. So, if we were to do this mission, I'm not saying no. I don't really have anything better to do. And I'm talking like solely for me. I don't know what these guys are gonna do. It'd be cool if they joined, but how dangerous would you say it is?
I mean, it's dangerous, but it's probably not deadly. But I don't know, it really depends on, are you trying to attack the whole fort, or are you just trying to sneak in and get her back? I don't know what your plan is. It's all going to depend on your plan, and getting there actually
I'm
might
not
be
very
harder.
sneaky.
Well, I mean, as long as you don't just outright attack them, you might be okay. I don't know. I tend not to go to the fort because they try to kill me every time I would go. They
But
don't.
that's just because you're you, right? Not because they just kill everybody who comes up.
Correct. They don't like ogres.
They don't like ogres, but that's mean.
You are correct. As I imagine, your head is like just barely pointing out of your shell at this point. Like,
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%.
He's kind of chuckling to himself as he's like, it is in fact mean.
Overlords.
Mm-hmm.
Why, if I might ask, why do you not wish to go in search of your own?
Well, the whole village looks to me for guidance and protection. If anything was to attack the village, I'm the one who's charged with protecting it. I am the leader of this village. I can't just leave it unprotected. And with Balbara being our other source of protection, with her being gone, I cannot go.
And no one, I did not mean you, I mean village, anyone. Balbara is your only fighter?
She is our only true magician, yes. We have sent those to the fort to rescue her, but they have been unsuccessful. They have either had to run for their lives or lost their lives in fighting the fort, as I said.
Mm.
They are not fans of people who look like, well, us, of the goblinoid ilk.
And so you do know she is in the fort, not lost before the fort.
That would be our best bet. She regularly goes out and scours the marsh for ingredients, and even if she's lost, she always makes her way home. She's never gone looking for ingredients and then never returned. And with us seeing or having reports of patrols from the Empire from the fort, it would only make sense that they took her.
Well, I I have no objection to at least to look.
Excellent. That makes two. How about the other two? Are you up to the job?
I mean, I don't think I really will be much help. I'm probably better if I just stay here.
If it's 3 days, you say 3 days,
Mm.
we will need food.
Oh, that's fine.
No, I'm looking at
Oh.
oh no.
Uh,
We will need food.
Well, I mean, sure, but I mean, you know how to. You can bring some snacks or something.
You know, I do not cook. You know, I burned the water when you ask me to boil it.
Well, that's just silly. Can't burn water.
I did though burn the water.
I thought you were an air genasi, not a fire genasi.
Well, maybe if I were fire genasi, I would not have burned the water. I would know how to boil it.
Well, I probably won't come into the fort with you, but I'll follow you. I'm
It's
not gonna be
fine.
any help with anything sneaky.
It's
I'm
fine.
not very good at sneaking.
We may not go in. We may just look.
I know that me, for one, I would love to try your cooking. Seems to be that you're pretty passionate about it.
I mean, I do try. I'd love to open a bakery someday, but it's hard to do that on the road.
I understand.
well, I can tell you that 50 gold goes a long way to opening a bakery.
You know, my hero, he had his bakery with his friends. It was. I'd like to be just like him someday.
Traveling
In the
baker.
having a bakering part.
So a traveling baker could make good money.
While they're kind of talking back and forth, I kind of just, still clutching the dagger, kind of glance from out of my hood up to the ogre, and you still twitchy and nervously say, "If I do this, I'd be safe here. Will I get lodging and be safe?"
If you're welcome to stay, if you would like. The village constantly moves, so if anybody's looking for you, they would have a harder time. But yes, you can stay if you so choose.
Kind of peeking back down from his hood back to the table, kind of just pushes himself out of a chair and just says, "Well, if you'll excuse me, I'll be outside." And he kind of gets up and walks outside.
I take that's a yes. You should go to walk away.
Yes.
Excellent. Well, again, my end of the deal is you return, you'll get premium weapons and 200 gold pieces. As long as you bring Bulbara from her kidnappers.
Does Must she be alive?
Yes. Preferably.
What if she was already dead before we got there?
Then I expect you to provide retribution.
Oh,
That seems a different job to me.
If she's dead and you have to provide retribution, I will adjust the compensation. Fair?
This seems fair. Yes.
My hope
Do
is that
you-
that does not have to happen.
Well, of course we wish that as well. But
it'd be better if everybody was alive.
yes, but I like to think of all the possibilities. Yes.
Yes. Just don't go talking about that second possibility out in the open. That could cause a riot. We don't need that.
Ah. This village, this city, does it move very, very far?
You can move wherever we want it to move. But
I
we
think
also
she
don't
meant how
have to.
quickly does it move.
Fairly slowly. Maybe a couple miles a day. We can probably push faster if we really wanted to, but
Well, I just if when we come back.
Oh my god, is Odo seasick on this turtle?
no.
I only just had this thought.
No.
It is a couple miles a day.
Yeah, it is not moving the same as a boat.
Great. Okay, cool.
Not a
Continuing
camel.
on.
It's not a camel.
we can
Is-
stay here for until you return. We don't need to move. We just can.
I see. I just know if we had a idea of where you go, moving is no problem.
Well, I can actually send with you, and he kind of snaps his big, meaty sausage-like fingers, and this larger hobgoblin walks in. Goes, I can send with you one of our best scouts, Morgid. He always knows how to find us.
More good.
Is he more good than the other scouts?
And Morgid kind of laughs, and he goes, You're the first outsider to make that joke. Yes, he's excellent.
This is acceptable.
Alright, well, I recommend you go, if you're looking for better gear to equip yourself, we have a blacksmith, a quartermaster, and a weaponsmith. If you're looking for ammo and traps and adventuring gear, tools, or weapons. If not, then Morgan can lead the way.
I have no need for shopping at this time.
Okay. So yeah, they can basically sell you weapons, anything from your standard weapons, armor, tools, adventuring gear, bows, crossbows, arrows, bolts, or hunter's traps. So
Mm,
I'm poor.
Same.
I'm so poor.
I mean, I'd still go like, nah. I guess.
how much does just a regular ass shield cost?
Let's see here. I forget off the top of my head.
Oh, 10 GP is what D&D Beyond says.
Yep, that's it. 10 gold pieces.
Great.
I'll tell you
There-
what. Since you're working for them, you can get it for 8.
Well, I
Oh,
can't functionally use it with my great axe, but I think I'm going to get it anyway because she definitely would like the idea of hiding behind a shield.
Okay.
So,
Fair.
As I kind of leave the building,
Mm-hmm.
are there any places or areas that look devoid of people? Like, I'm looking for like an alleyway. You know what I mean?
You could find one. Yeah.
Okay, because I will find a location that is quiet, not many people around, and I kind of I reach into one of my pouches
Mm-hmm.
and I pull out a piece of copper wire.
Ooh.
and I wrap it around my hand, and I'm squeezing it to the point where it's almost like cutting into my skin. He's squeezing it very tightly, and at least for backstory purposes, it hasn't worked yet. He knows it hasn't worked. No one's ever answered back, and I know the spell doesn't work like this, but I will be casting message.
Okay.
And for me and you, you can look at my background stuff. He is trying to contact his cousin, who fled. We can call the incident with him, who he hasn't seen since, and he is basically closing his eyes in this alleyway, talking to himself, whispering to himself, and he says, "If you're out there and you can hear this, if you've made it back home to Wildemount, I'm in Urizen. It's safe. No one cares who we are. Find me." And then message ends.
As you whisper these words into your palm and blow them out onto the winds of the swamp, the words, almost like the words themselves are alive, kind of go out, and they just not unlike sonar. You see them go, and you're almost waiting for them to ping and a response to come back, but you kind of just watch the words fade into the ether. And as you're standing there holding your breath, hoping, waiting, yearning for a response, all you hear in the back of your head is your own heartbeat. Just go look. No response.
I kind of just pull my hood further, over my head and just walk back out and back to the front of the building where I assume this quote-unquote group is grouping up.
Yeah, Morgid, as you guys walk with them outside of the Raggedy Hall, with fuller bellies than you entered with, he points out the different shops that the Ogre Lord had mentioned to you, and you're able to go and acquire yourself a shield, and anything else that you may want to buy. Otherwise,
quick question: can a javelin be used as a spear?
100%. You can one-hand it.
Then great. I meant like not throw it. In my brain,
Oh.
javelins are throwing things.
Oh no, you can stab people with them.
That seems, yeah. I'm like, wait a second. I have a thing that I can use with a shield. So there we go. I'm good. I have a shield and a javelin, and that is my new standard setup.
Okay, cool. So you have yourself a shield with your natural shield and a pokey stick. I like it. All right. So he looks around and just kind of nods at each of you, and asks if you're ready to go. And if you are all ready to go, he will.
Yep.
He will lead you into the Broken Vale Marsh down here. Let me put on some. See if this is the swamp music I want. Swamplandia? Yeah, Swamplandia. So you guys can put your tokens on the screen, and you all start up here in Urizen. Cool. And you don't got to worry about turning on dark vision or anything like that for this specific map. But
I remember how to do tokens. Sorry.
you're cool. You just drag it onto the map if it's at the side there. You should have.
I
Wham.
Thank you.
I haven't specifically assigned everyone their own one yet, so everyone technically has access to everyone's, but that's okay for now. I'll get it. Oh, look, there we go. I was like, where's your turtle? It's right there. It's fading into the trees. All right, cool. So as you guys leave Urizen with Morgid, you start walking through some very boggy water in the marsh. It averages from 1 to 5 feet deep, but it's too shallow and weed bound for boats or for rafts. You could walk. It's just a harder trudge to get through, and each hex on the map is 1 mile across. And if you move at a normal pace, you can move 10 hexes per day. If you move at a slow pace, it's 5, but if you move at a fast pace, it's 20. Um, so you guys can either use Morgid to try and direct you to where you need to go, or you guys can, or somebody can roll advantage on survival to kind of direct where you want to go. You tell me.
Would we have been able to see any maps before we left, or is
I'll say that
Morgan just kind of?
Morgan has a map and kind of knows where to go anyway. He knows how to get to fort. So either he can be the leader and just lead specifically and roll the survival checks, or somebody can roll a survival check with advantage. It is up to you.
I would be happy to give Morgan assistance with my Outlander navigation skills.
Okay, I will let you do that if you 100% want to. That is 100% okay with me. Morgid, looking kind of tired, is gonna try and direct where you guys are going.
Well, I mean, if he's tired.
With his +0, he managed to roll a 17.
All right.
So you tell me which direction you guys want to go. I'll tell you, like, do you want to go more north, this way, like, which direction do you want to go? Like, you're not going to get lost today. Whichever direction you want to go, you can go that way, and you can pass through as many squares as you deem fit. You just point to here where you wish to go. The direction you wish to get to Fort Venture, which, looking on a map, you know is all the way over here. So you can take whatever path you want. You just tell me which way you want to go.
Sorry, where is it again?
Over here.
Okay.
I mean, without knowing a ton about the terrain or the area, or like what other potential scary things there might be along the way, I feel like Ono would just be on, what everyone else says.
Okay.
Is there a route that isn't necessarily the shortest, like actual distance wise, but has maybe terrain that isn't quite as mucky so that we could move faster?
We'll say that you guys can either go like this way and kind of purge through here if you want to and try and come down this way. That's a way to do it. Actually, make my thing brighter because that's very hard to see dark blue on a dark map. So you guys can either go like this way and try and pierce through here and make that route, or you guys can like go basically anywhere you see it where there's like not super thick piles of trees, you can make your way through it like that. So, but anywhere there's like extreme patches of thick trees, that's going to be more difficult terrain.
Is there a place that we know for sure that Balbara would go for supplies? Like, would she have been more likely to take that top route or the other one?
He doesn't know for sure because she kind of ventures over the whole place.
Okay. I know what. Let's split the party.
That's like a good idea.
Brilliant level 1 plan.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I know Greeny would also be under the same impression of just doing whatever. He's mostly here for the ride, not more for the job. So.
Same.
We're so bad at this.
Party of
Okay, well, I'm gonna do.
Listen, I'm waiting for our.
I'm gonna do a
scouts to
thing.
go.
I'm gonna do a thing. Hang on.
To be fair, the guy literally gave us a scout to lead us. It would be unwise to
Right.
not follow us.
As you get out and you see that you guys are kind of talking to Morgan and he's just talking to you kind of about it, he kind of murmurs, "The marsh loves outlanders like you, loves to gobble 'em up, bones and all. But were you not, my friends, Morgan will lead the way. Maybe 3 days of swamp to sift through till we reach Fort Venture, and then it's your time to shine." You see that he shoves the map back into his belt.
Insight check?
Go for it.
Because that, I mean, that's a little, yeah.
Man.
I am insight checking
Sure, y'all can
in
do.
particular to see about this if you weren't my friend business.
I'm
And my
Fucking
insight's
evil
like,
creature.
yeah, can I trust you?
You guys are getting a vibe that Morgan doesn't necessarily care about you all, and
Uh-huh.
he's only doing it because he was told to.
Uh-huh.
Um, and as you are kind of insight checking and kind of figuring out that he's not maybe all that he's like cracked up to be, he just starts walking into the bog briskly, motioning for you to
Okay.
follow him, but he's starts going.
I'm not 100% sure how I feel about that guy, but I don't really know what to do with that information.
I think we need to be wary of all the dangers of the swamp.
You know what? I'm pretty good at being wary.
All right. So as you guys are, which way do you want? So basically, if you want to follow him, I'm gonna roll a d4, and it will determine which direction this way that you guys end up going, like up this way,
Okay.
or south. So
Yeah, let's follow him.
all right, I'll roll a d4. So basically, 1 will be this way, 2 will be this way, 3 will be this way, and 4 will be this way. Let's see where he takes you to. He starts going south. I think I
Interesting.
have a hobgoblin token, I think. Hobgoblin. Wham. He
Takes
probably
to like
has
the
more than
most
11 hit points
dense
if I
area.
had to take a guess. He definitely has. Nope, he has 11 hit points. He's
We can
just
take him.
all right. So you can go 10 squares a day at regular. So you can go 10 miles a day. So he starts walking 2, 3, 4, about halfway through here, and because I don't want to be responsible for it, somebody roll me a d20. A straight d20.
I got it. Oh, nope. Greenie's got it.
You guys are making your way down through
Make my way.
the thick boggy marsh, and nice, and it's getting thicker. The terrain is getting harder, and he doesn't seem to really care. Doesn't seem like he's actively going the direction he pointed on the map. He's just kind of wandering.
Okay. At this point, Greenie would call out to him. Excuse me.
Yes.
You sure about this way?
He kind of looks up at the sky, looks at his map, looks at the trees. He goes, "Oops, I went the wrong way. Hat, it happens. Let's go this way." He's gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, and he's gonna go right there because that's 5 more squares. Basically, the remaining squares that you guys can go for the day.
Alright.
As you guys kind of follow him and maneuver through there, a boggy field littered with bones of massive beasts. You see there are many giant skeletons kind of in these woods, and as the fog parts ahead to reveal the skulls and bones of giant beasts rising from the marsh like a collection of morbid monuments. As you draw nearer, you spy 3 horizon-back tortoise skulls beneath the shadow of a gargantuan ribcage at the center of this sullen boneyard. Go ahead and you can all make perception checks. Okay, so you guys are far enough away as you notice it. I will say that Naf and Greenie and Carrie, you see there are 7 lizard people there that kind of are sleeping, or one of them is chanting.
Oh God.
I'm gonna roll a d20 and see what happens here. 7. So the one that's chanting doesn't see any of you, but you do see that 4 of them wake up and seem to travel. He like yells at them as he's chanting, and 4 of them wake up and kind of disperse out into the woods like they're gonna go hunting. So it's now just 2 lizard folk who are kind of just standing watch and him chanting in the boneyard. What do you do?
I want to know what Morgan does.
Morgan looks back at you and he goes, "Well, we can't get past unless we fight him or go home or run and try not to get caught, but you can't really run in this bog, so you tell me what you want to do."
Can we not sneak around them?
"You can try. I can try too, but we might end up fighting them. I've had to fight them before. They're a real pain in the butt. If you want to try and sneak, I'm all about it though."
I don't really want to try and sneak, but I don't know if I really want to take them. I don't know what we can do.
I
Oh,
think
guys, I don't think
I
we're
think
cut out for
that
this kind of work.
I think that you can at least try to sneak. You might surprise yourself.
Oh, but then I might get scared if I surprise myself.
Well, would you like to carry my shield also?
Double shield action.
I no, I think I'd rather have my pokey stick.
It
And, like-
is a good pokey stick.
And she's gonna definitely be shield at the ready, but also stick at the ready, but also elbows in and very into herself at the moment.
How about the rest of you? I'm just the leader. You tell me where you want to go.
Yeah, well, I'm agreeing with this sneak around plan. We don't really need to fight them, right? They're taking up a little part of the forest.
I see no need to start anything.
All right, you guys can 100% certainly try and sneak around it.
We can certainly try.
You can certainly try just to be sneaky.
I'm going to just kind of give Ono just a very awkward little pat and say, I think if you maybe follow me, we can sneak and you have guidance.
Ooh.
Nice. Yeah, D4. All right, everybody, roll me stealth checks.
30-20, bitches.
There you go. I will roll one for
Oh no.
the hobgoblin.
I said I was bad at sneaking.
Sure, you did.
I want that on the record.
Luckily,
the problem is that I
luckily,
was
though,
so stealthy you couldn't follow me.
3 of you all passed, so it is a group pass.
Ooh.
Oh,
It's as you're starting to get down and get a little sneaky, Ono and Greenie, you both kind of step into a part of the bog that's deeper than you expect, and you start falling forwards, about to splash in. And as you go to splash in to the water face first, you see that Morgan just grabs the first thing he can see, which is a giant piece of wood, and just hucks it 20 feet over this way, past the shaman. It makes a giant splash over there, and he says, "Quick, follow me," and it just darts you guys this way. So you basically get, we'll say you can get here for the end of the day. So you guys can sprint basically through the marsh and get about a mile or so away from the bone, from the bone counters. And he's panting. He's like, okay, right. So we can't go that way. Well, there are a couple other ways we can go. I will tell you, however, it depends what you want. There's some tower not too far away that I guess a magician used to live in. So there could be stuff there. I don't know. I've been in there a couple times, but there's spiders there. But
I don't like spiders.
there could be some cool stuff there. I don't know. I've heard that there's a few treasure chests in there, but I have no interest in magical person treasure stuff. I'm just a guide, and I'm just here to protect my
Do you think
village.
you have books?
Maybe,
Maybe some cookbooks?
maybe. But I also know that if we go the other way, um, there is the home of bullywugs. You know, the frog people. So, take your chances with a village of frog people, or an old busted up
Well,
mage tower, probably with spiders.
I mean, are the spiders just regular small spiders, and are the billywigs mean or not nice?
Well, if you try,
Because I think those make very different decisions, don't they?
uh, yeah, but if you go anywhere near the bullywugs, they tend to try and eat things that are smaller than them. So,
Are we bigger than them? I don't know if I've met a billywug. Maybe she has. I don't know.
um, they're like adult human-sized frog people.
Oh, maybe the spiders.
Do you mean these places to stay or to pass through?
To pass through. Those are the two ways to get to where we need to go. That we gotta pass through one of them. The woods otherwise are too thick to get through. So,
I'm I could we decide in the morning?
absolutely, we can rest here for the night. We're safe. So you guys can take a long rest if you wish.
Oh yeah.
All right.
We doing watches?
Are you?
I think yes, mainly over, Morgan, but
Okay, that's
I
fine.
would like to take the middle watch and cast a star chart while I'm doing it.
Perfect. Okay. All right. Who wants to take the first and third watch, if any?
I want to take the third watch so that I can also make breakfast.
All right. Cool. Anybody want to take the first watch?
I can take the first watch.
Okay. So, go ahead and make me a perception check. 16. Um, as you are sitting up and watching, keeping an eye out overnight, nothing really goes on. You hear frogs off in the distance, you hear swamp bugs and creatures, and the occasional splash, but it doesn't sound like anything big. It sounds like it's probably like a water snake or a frog jumping into the water, or just stuff that lives out here that comes out at night. You recognize it as that. So, but your watch goes by uneventful otherwise.
Okay.
All right.
Ooh, with an uneventful watch.
As you go to sleep and wake up, Carrie, go ahead and start on your star chart, and then go ahead and roll for me a perception check.
Okie dokie.
Okay. So as you're keeping your eye out, it gets a little louder um, as you hear more and more bugs, and you see more and more frogs are kind of ribbiting, croaking across the way, a little further, but still a little louder. So you imagine these are probably the bullywugs you hear off in the distance, kind of croaking like they're chatting with each other. And you see lightning bugs and fireflies just kind of sparkle through the air and light up almost like stars in front of your face. And based on where you guys are camped, you can't see the whole sky, but you can see a decent portion of it and start working on your star chart.
Yep.
So as you spend a few hours doing that, trying not to get it all wet in this swamp water, you can go ahead and go to sleep. And oh no, you can wake up and go ahead and make for me a perception check.
Oh no.
Okay. Same. You start to see the light break over the horizon as it kind of pierces through the tops of the trees a little bit. The sounds of the frogs the croaking kind of quiet down a little bit. The overnight bugs kind of dwindle, and you hear the flapping of birds, and you can start working on breakfast for everybody.
Yeah, I guess I'm probably making some sort of like porridge because I assume that pretty much any other breakfast fare involves ingredients that I don't have.
Hmm. As everybody wakes, I need you all to make for me DC 11 Constitution checks. Not a saving throw, just a check. Okay. 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 Nice, nice. Okay.
No!
So the two of you that rolled less than an 11, as you wake up, um, you you feel off. You feel like breathing in the swampy air, sleeping against trees, and getting the swamp water on you, and not really having the ability to to dry yourself completely. You start to feel a little ill. You both are suffering from sewer plague. So you have sewer plague for this many days each, for
Oof.
2 days each, and it takes this long for the symptoms to start to manifest. So you have 2 days before they really start to affect you, but you're just feeling a little off today. I will tell you that at the end of each day, you suffer one level of exhaustion. You regain only half the number of hit points from spending hit dice, and no hit points from finishing a long rest. And at the end of each long rest, you make the save again. On a failed save, you gain another level of exhaustion. On a successful save, the exhaustion level decreases by 1. And if you reduce the exhaustion below 1, you recover. So at the end of the day, before you rest, you'll take a level of exhaustion, and then at the um, end of the rest, you'll roll the save again to see if you recover or if you get another one. So
Right.
Damn.
the two of you have sewer plague.
That
In
is
Yes, it
not
will start to affect you in 2 days. So right now, you don't have any effect on you yet. So just know in two long rests from now, you will suffer from sewer plague unless you find a way to heal it. So just so you know. But yeah, you guys wake up feeling fairly refreshed, a little not great, the two of you. And I'm gonna roll a d20, and this will determine how well your navigation goes. For actually, I'm gonna make
Well,
a
I
survival
I
check.
do have a little something to tell the group while you do that.
Do it.
Um, if you will allow, I spoke with the stars in the night, and they do not always speak back clearly, but I find that Raifilwir, the prophet, ruled by Erastus, is in the house of Kasar, the phoenix, and the prophets, when this constellation is in with Kazakh, it means that your way is thinking, thinking for job. Um,
I don't understand a word you're saying. Like, I know you're trying to speak common, but I don't understand anything that you're talking about.
I ask the stars for for advice.
I mean, sure, but I don't understand what the advice was.
Well, I I was not finished.
Oh, okay.
So when the constellation Raifelgur is where it is now, it mean knowledge, it mean practical, it mean analyze, and the Kazakh, it means war, it means struggle. So I feel the stars could be read to say that we take the way of the scholar. So perhaps we go by the tower instead of fight the bullywug.
I mean, I don't see why not.
I mean, if it means if no one has any other better ideas, I don't see why not either. And I mean,
Honestly, I thought that was the first choice for me. I didn't want to see frog people try to eat me.
I don't. And I mean, this is where the frog people live. I don't really feel like I really want to go in and be like, "Hey, we're just coming through your house, but we thought you should die." You just, I mean, I understand that they want to eat us too, but I'd rather just avoid them if we could.
Morgan steps up and says, "All right, well, I know how to get us to where we're trying to be then. As far as the tower, I can get us there, no problem. I know exactly where that is. I've walked past there many, many times. So, if y'all are ready, he'll start walking you there.
Let us ask Erathis for his protection,
All right.
and we go.
Well, he starts heading this way, and about half the day goes, just under half the day, after you guys have had breakfast and whatnot, gets you to the tower. And you can see a squat, square, three-story tower juts up out of the water ahead. Its crumbling stones sag with age, and half of the time-worn building's first floor has already been subsumed by the murky marsh. Shadowy openings mark the locations of an arched doorway at ground level and several small windows on the upper floors. And he looks and says, "Well, there's the tower. I've heard there's some fun stuff in there. Um,
Wait, if there's fun stuff in there, how come no one's ever gone inside for it?
spiders.
I mean, but like, are they big spiders or are they little spiders? Because I mean, I agree that spiders are terrifying, but I mean, I could still squish one if I needed to, right?
With your passive perception of 14, you catch, looking out of one of the windows above you, 8 eyes just staring at you.
Great.
And as you kind of look at these small windows on the upper floors, you see that 3 spiders clamber out of these windows, and 3 giant spiders climb out. They're not this big. That is abnormally huge. You
They're
see,
dire, but they're not that dire.
they are absolutely abysmally huge spiders. 3 spiders start to clamber out, and they haven't climbed to you yet, but they're making their way. We're basically just going to use this as the map. So we'll just count each of the hexes on here as like a square for movement purposes. So each square is, even though it says it's a mile, it's 5 feet. And you see that as they clamber out the windows, Morgood pulls out his longsword and shield and looks around and goes, "Well, it looks like we're fighting spiders today, folks." And everybody go ahead and roll me initiative for spiders. And while that's happening, I'm gonna give you one of these. You shall not pass. Nice, nice, nice. Oh, give me this. Eat. Eat. And eat. All right. Wow, that spider rolled real well. It's actually, well, I guess it's Morgan's turn first. He, seeing the spider closest to him that comes out, is gonna go ahead and, oh, that's not what I'm looking for. Cool. Yeah, so he's gonna go ahead and just run right to this one, and he's gonna try and take a smack at it with his longsword. 15. He gets his. It's just one-handed, so it is 9 damage. Plus, he gets an ability called Martial Advantage, where he can deal an extra 2d6 to a creature once per turn. So he does a grand total. He wrecks this spider. It's alive, but he just slices off 6 of its legs. it is now that spider's turn, who is looking
Get wrecked!
very messed up. He's just gonna try and bite him. It misses. It goes to bite down on him and misses. This other giant spider sees what's happening and is gonna try and shoot a web at this person over here, this big green dragony guy. So I need you. Oh, let's see. It's a +5 to hit. Does a 19 hit you?
Yeah.
All right. So you don't actually take any damage. You are just restrained. That's the HP of the webbing. So just so you know. So you are considered restrained by spiderweb. And now it is Nap's turn.
So I actually got a 16 and I forgot how to put it into the turn order. Sorry.
You are good. Did it not add you in here at all?
No,
Wow.
probably because I did it wrong.
Oh,
That
if you,
would be my
if you, I was
guess.
gonna say, if you click on your token first and then click initiative, it will roll it for you.
That's why. Okay, yeah, sorry.
I'm just gonna put at 0.3. So, do. All right, Carrie, it's your turn first.
So are the two that are not engaged with our guide, like kind of back behind the tower? Is that
No, they're basically on the front of the tower. They climbed out the windows. You can see them.
okay? I'm gonna go ahead and let's see. Am I within?
All of these are basically 5-foot squares at this point. So
Okay,
yeah, so you just have to count them. But yeah, you're all probably within range.
okay. I'm just gonna get up enough so that if I can do that. If I can get up enough so that I'm not hitting people in my party,
Mhm.
because I'm gonna do Thunder Wave,
Nice.
and it originates in a cube from me.
Awesome. And it's what, 10 feet around?
15.
Oh, snap. Yeah, if you're just pushing it in the angle going from you, I assume this way.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I'll say that it'll hit them both.
Okay.
It's what, con saves for them?
On 14, yes.
All right. So this will be for the top one, and the second one will be for the one to your left. 1, 2.
Okay.
So 10 and 20. So this guy up here fails, and this person passes. And
Okay, so
this
the
guy
failed
takes
takes 13
okay.
points of thunder damage and is pushed, if possible, 10 feet from me.
Oh yeah. Pow.
And the other one is not pushed and takes half damage.
Cool. So I like to round up on damage because it's more
Okay.
fun. So that guy takes 7. It'll also
Okay.
be the same if they hit you and it's odd. I'll round up. So.
Yep.
All right. Anything else on your turn?
I'm going to duck back just a little bit.
Okay. It's gonna try and take an attack of opportunity. Well, no, you weren't melee. You got close enough, but didn't melee. Got it.
Yeah.
Naf, it is your turn now.
Okay. Let's see here. All right. As he stands there and he sees the spiders coming out, he's conflicted. He really doesn't want to fight, but at the same time, you know, this ain't great. So what he's gonna do is, hold on a second. He is going to, he's gonna, as a bonus action, he's gonna just drain himself a little bit of 2 damage.
Okay.
As I use Vital Sacrifice. And as my action, on top of Vital Sacrifice, he's going to hold out his hand and his arm is going to kind of become drenched in blood, essentially. And it's just going to form into three, not three, where is it? It's going to form into one singular one, because I'm on an attack roll. It's going to form into one singular, kind of red hot, flaming streak of blood, and it's gonna go towards this one.
Okay.
So, blam!
12 unfortunately misses
Well,
as your blast of blood goes flying by and hits the spider, but doesn't seem to have the impact you're looking for.
and as I do that, I am immediately looking to everyone else, looking for reactions, because I don't. It's been a long time since I've used my abilities,
There you go.
and I just back it.
All right. Oh no, it's your turn.
I think Ono like it gets a bit of a Hulk moment as she's like about to shit her pants, and then she's like, no, I'm not gonna shit my pants. I'm going to get angry, and she's gonna use her bonus action to do a rage.
Nice.
Arr.
Am I this far away from
It's-
everybody else?
It's yeah. Well, I'd say you're probably like right there, or actually, no,
Okay,
you're probably
cool.
honestly with the groups. You're probably right there.
Yeah. Okay.
And each of those is just it's a mile square, so it's basically 5 feet. So if it's
Yeah.
a 6, it's 6 is 30 feet. Yeah.
So this one here. Oh, sorry, I can't ping. This one here is the one that's mostly wrecked, right?
Yeah. He's real wrecked.
Just feels like such a waste to go for the one that's wrecked, but
You would
like
get advantage on flanking if you went down to wreck.
that's what I'm thinking, right?
Do it.
Okay, I'm gonna come down here
Yeah.
and
Roll me that attack.
let's. Okay, is there a way on
Yes, you hold shift,
D&D
it'll
Beyond?
turn green, and you click it. And
What?
disadvantage
Oh my
is
God.
control, and it will go red.
Oh
It's
my
the same
God,
with
the
all skill
world
checks too.
is-
And anything.
Okay, this is gonna be with my pokey stick. Oh shit, did I not?
You can also
No, I
turn
need
on,
javelin.
you can also turn on rage damage if you hit the beyond 20 red button and scroll down a little bit. There is a option for turn on rage damage, and it'll automatically apply it.
Oh damn.
Oh damn, this is too complicated. Also my javelin isn't showing up as a weapon I can use.
Did you
So-
equip it?
You know what? Probably did not. Inventory, javelin. There we go. Okay. And then how do I? How did you say I turn on rage damage? I mean,
If you click on the red button above that says beyond 20, it's above your wisdom and intelligence scores right there. If you click on it, and then it'll basically give you an option that says barbarian raging, where in rage you're raging arg. You click on that, and it will.
You are raging R. Yep.
That's it. You click on that, and it will just add the rage damage. There you go, 20. And then just click on javelin, and it will roll the damage for you. 4, 6. Oh, yeah, you wreck this. You stab right through it, and it's.
I just do a like it's one of those like she just like pokes it like several times in quick succession, just like ah.
You just imagine a shish kebab and
Yeah.
then it's easy.
No, when she's raging, it's the only time that she's not 100% food oriented. She can actually think about other things than food.
I like it. Anything else in your turn? You used your attack, your bonus action, and some of your movement. You might have more movement. I don't remember.
Let's see. If we say that I was here
I think you used 20 feet, so I think you have like 10 more feet.
20 feet, so yeah, let's go and just be intimidating over by. Just go run right up to this one and go.
All
"Ah!"
right. Greenie, it is your turn. You are currently restrained,
Yeah, I am.
but
restrained.
you can still attack and stuff. It's just any attack rolls are at disadvantage, and you have no
How-
movement.
How far away would I be to this guy over here?
It's like 30 feet. You're like 30 feet from both of them.
30 feet from both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Ah. Okay. I'm just gonna cast Vicious Mockery on the guy over here.
Wisdom save.
Yeah. What I'm gonna do is
6.
Oh,
as Ono runs up to this spider, I'm gonna sort of do this snap of my fingers, and when the spider turns to look at Ono, the floor sort of becomes wavy under it, and it sort of seems like it's losing its footing. I'll say right now, I'm more of an illusionist bard, but
Okay.
yeah.
nice.
All right. All right. So, do you want to do anything with your bonus action? Do you have anything to do with it right now? Okay. All right. So it's this other giant spider's turn. Well, it doesn't want to die, and it's close. I'm gonna roll a d20. See if it's higher, it's gonna run away. It's gonna run away. It doesn't. It's not trying to die today. It's trying to live. You see this spider just skitter, skitter away. All right. It's Hobgoblin's turn. It's gonna just walk over here and try and do what you did. It's gonna try and attack at advantage and try and get you. 14 just hits it for 3 damage plus its martial advantage of 9. 12. It's still alive, but it has less legs now. It sees 2 people around it and it doesn't really know what to do, so it's gonna go. Well, you try to intimidate it, it tried to attack it. I'm gonna roll a d4. 1 to 2 is him, 3 and 4 is you. Alright, he's getting this straight up attacked with a bite. For a natural 1.
Oh,
He goes to bite down, and it's not so much that he misses, it's as he goes to bite down, you see the hobgoblin, Morgan, take a shield and slam it in the jaws, like just turn it sideways and slam it in the jaws of the spider, and you see the fangs dripping with poisonous venom, just seeping it onto the shield, but not getting anywhere with it. It's your turn now, Carrie.
they seem like they've got it pretty well in hand. I think I will turn to Greenie and notice that he's got all this webbing, and take my quarterstaff off my back and start like kind of prying it through to get the webbing off of him.
Alright, roll me a quarterstaff attack, because it does have an AC and HP.
Yeah, and I'm actually doing that two-handed.
Alright.
So here is my to hit.
You hit. It has an AC of 10. It's got 5 HP. You just rip the webbing off of Greenie's legs. You are no longer restrained by webbing. You have remnants of it on you, but that's not enough that it's like sticking you to the ground anymore.
And then I will just look around and say, they seem fine. Are you two all right?
I'm all good. Don't need to worry about me.
Alright, are you moving anywhere? Do anything with a bonus action?
I think maybe I will move just up a little bit.
Okay.
Just see, in case backup needs to happen here, but...
Alright. Now, if you see one spider take off into the trees and skitter away, and this other spider's got a hurt putting on it.
Okay, I'm gonna try the same thing.
Okay.
Now that everyone's attention is kind of away and onto the spider, up it goes. Good.
Yeah, that hits. And does the damage from the bolt before carry over until you hit?
The blood boon lasts for an hour until it's used.
Okay.
So, alongside the 3 fire damage from my burning blood, when I hit with an attack or spell, I also deal an additional 9 necrotic damage.
Damn!
You see this like very, very burning red bolts of what looks like fire, but more globulally and almost more moist. It just hits it and explodes over it, and it's almost like it. The spider had a bludgeoning wound that opened up, as it just seems to be covered in blood, but the blood then begins to burn through the spider, just melting it into a carapace of nothing. And that is the end of the spiders.
I then immediately kind of cover my arm back up into my cloak.
All right.
That just basically come right over my shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Just whew.
Huh. I won't clock that.
Morgid walks over and goes, "Well, you guys are more capable than I thought. That's probably it for the spiders in the tower. If it ran away, then I don't imagine there's more in there. But I'm gonna stay out here and keep guard. If you guys want to go and investigate, be my guest. But I'm staying out here."
Okay, coming out of a rage happens within a round if you don't attack, or
Yeah,
is it within...
it's within if you. So
2
basically,
rounds?
if you don't attack or be attacked within,
Or choose to end it.
or you can choose
Yeah,
to end
you
it.
can
Yeah.
choose.
So
She's not gonna choose to end it, but like within 6 seconds of indecision, her rage ends. She realizes what the fuck just happened, gets terrified, and pops into her shell and rolls onto her back, and just oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no.
Again.
Funny.
So I'm going to let's see if this will work. Without really even thinking about it, I'm gonna cast Gust
Mhm.
and just see if I can catch the corner of her shell to flip her back over. And
Mm,
while I'm doing that, I'm gonna look at Morgid and just say, you know, you almost seem disappointed that we are capable.
I mean, I'm sure he doesn't mean too much about it, but I'm gonna be honest, I sort of get that feeling too.
Yes, it is curious.
is there a weight limit to the gust spell?
Um,
Because if it's just like a small
to push
gust
to
of wind,
push to push a medium or smaller creature, they must succeed on a strength saving throw.
oh, okay. Well, I'll say, go ahead and make a strength saving throw there. Oh no, to see if you just turn yourself over without knowing you're getting assistance.
You failed.
So you flip yourself over.
Yeah, basically that's what happens is you manage to flip yourself over.
There you
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
go. But you guys
I'm a
see,
little bit amazed because I've never done that before.
right?
Hmm.
As you look in the door and the windows where the spiders climbed out of, you see that the floors are pretty rotten. Um, but go ahead and whoever's looking deeper in the windows and kind of staring, because there's not much light in here, so it's kind of darker. Anyone who's going in and looking around can go ahead and make perception checks for me.
I would love to.
Okay,
And if it is dark, I would light a torch.
sounds good.
Ooh.
All right. Okay, just the two of you going in?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So as you guys walk in, you see that with your higher perception check, the first thing you see is that the shadowy third floor of the tower, so basically the second, because the first floor is sunken into the ground at this point. So the top floor is covered with the rotting husks of swamp vermin and birds, and you also notice the remains of two dead Kryn Dynasty soldiers webbed to the walls. The only reason you believe them to be Kryn Dynasty is because they still have um, some, like, their flesh is a little darker and they have the elvish ears, so they look very much like the drow who led you to Urzin. this web to the walls. So you imagine they were probably food for the spiders. And there may have been more spiders, but as of right now, you saw all the ones that were there. And as you are looking at these bodies, you almost trip over a chest as you are walking through this watery floor, the bottom floor. Naf, you hit this chest, and as you kind of pointed out, you both turn to look at it. You can see that there's a big lock on it, but it is definitely rusted.
Can I try to bust open the lock?
Yeah.
Like smash it?
Yes, you can. Go ahead and give me a. I'll say give me. You can either do a strength check, an athletics, or an attack roll, whatever you want to do.
I guess I'll do athletics because that's the same as doing a weapon attack.
So with a 9, you go to slam onto it, but even though it's rusty, it's still a pretty sturdy lock.
Cool. I like shake my hand and I'm like, ow. Do you know any way to get into this? That's sort of all I got. I mean, I could also lift up the chest, right? And bring it.
100% just out. Hardcore.
You guys could try and pick the lock. You could try multiple attacks on it at once and see if you can break the DC. Or you can...
I got nothing.
My options are either carry it out or continue to try to smash.
Smash is always good.
Do it.
All right, I'll just smash again.
Smash the chest instead of the lock.
There you go.
Big brain, please.
Yeah, I'll grab my axe and I'll try to smash the box. Sounds like a terrible plan.
Do it. Anybody want to assist in any way?
I'm hearing this smashing and I just poke my head in the door. What are you doing?
I mean, I will say every time you hit it, to hit it only is an AC of 8. Every time you hit it, the DC does go down because you're wearing the box out, but you haven't cleared it yet.
I'm just trying to get into the box, but I don't have the key. Actually, is the key around here? Did we even... No, it's kind of rusted and broken. I don't know.
I think I'll come over and I will I think that your axe, it is strong enough if you try one more time. You have guidance. So I pat your shoulder awkwardly again.
Sure, you can roll, yep, and then roll your d4 on top of it.
Hey,
so with your 2 hits, you dropped the DC from 20 to 18, and you got 19. So as you finally feel like you know where to hit this time, and as you kind of spin the axe in your hand and clamp it twice, pull it directly over your head and just come down, you split the lock into multiple pieces.
Nice.
And as you see the lock fall away, you open the chest, and it's a lot bigger on the inside than it looked. It looks like it had been
TARDIS box.
Right. It had been enchanted with some type of magical storage spell. That looks like it affects this specifically, but now that you've opened it and broken the lock, it's probably not as in good shape as it once was. You see that inside is a normal longsword, a silver ring, a large selections of books and scrolls that seem to have water damage somehow. It looks like there may have been a leak in this chest somehow, somewhere, that has let water seep through. A set of pipes of haunting carved from moorbounder bones, and a suit of elven chainmail. So,
I mean, I don't know if this ring is just a regular ring or not, but I actually almost bought a sword when we were back in town, and I didn't. If nobody needs needs a, I mean, if someone else wants it, they can totally have it. But if nobody did want it, I'd like the shiny sword.
I have no need of it.
If Greeny can hear this from the outside, can he hear this from outside?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
do. Okay. He'd call her. I'm okay.
All right, and then longsword. So you got a longsword. All right. So you have pipes of haunting, a ring, which is going to be worth 20 gold pieces in the end, and then elven chainmail.
Do we know that you're a bard, Greeny? Have we figured that out in our travels?
Probably. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna bring the pipes of hunting out to you.
Oh yeah.
Pipes of haunting are fun.
These looks like you maybe you could use.
Yeah. You know what? I might know something about this.
All right, cool. So you got that. Who wants a ring and who wants some elven chain armor?
That
Well,
heavy armor.
so it's medium armor, but it's made of
Mm,
metal.
mm,
So
noisy.
yeah, so that well, it doesn't have any negative effect, but it's made of metal, so it's unlikely that you would wear it as a druid.
Right. Yep.
But it's very useful for a bard or a wizard or anyone who wears metal armor because it automatically gives you proficiency with it.
Wait.
Oh,
So
damn.
Oh,
yeah,
shoot.
yeah, you don't need the proficiency to wear it. You just get it. So
Oh, hold up.
there you go. So I'll leave that in your guys' charge to figure that out. And as you get everything from the tower, Morgid is going to recommend that you not stay too long in the tower, and he's going to push on for the rest of the day to here, and that's where he is going to stop because that's basically a whole day's worth of travel. So
Okay.
that's where
Does
he is going to leave for the day. He's gonna rest there. So as you guys get there, you guys can all go to sleep. Nothing's gonna attack you overnight. Um, and then those of you who already passed the Constitution save, we're gonna say that you're good for it. But the two of you who failed before, go ahead and give me con saves to see if you are able to. Nope, you still got sewer plague, Greeny. Naf, go ahead and give me that con save. So, um, yeah, Anna, you passed it before, so you're good. So it's just Naf and Greeny that need to.
did anyone take the elven chain?
Wait,
I was gonna
It was,
ask
wasn't it me?
ask you,
Carrie
Pi.
passed it.
Did
I
you
was
pass
gonna
it?
ask you, Pi. What do you have on for armor?
Oh, I ain't got nothing. But yeah, me and Carrie
Well, you
passed
should
it.
take it then.
Yeah,
Those
you
two
take
failed it.
it.
Okay, then yeah, Anna, you're good.
Yeah.
You ain't got sewage, but yeah, yeah. So
Woo!
there you go, Pi. If you want elven chain armor for your wizard, there you go.
Yeah.
Good deal.
Cool.
Greeny, are you
I'm
gonna
sorry, guys. I'm just
complain
kind of
about?
sleepy right now.
We're about to finish up here in a minute, so we're good.
Yeah. Are you complaining about not feeling good?
No.
No? Okay.
No.
All right.
Cool. All right, so that's where you guys make it. You wake up in the morning. It has been 3 days since you have started your journey, and fun fact, you're in a new month. You are
Oh,
now
yeah.
actively in the month of Fesserun. Fessurun. Day 3. And actually, if you were in Wildemount, right, if you were in the Dendalian Empire right now, you would be able to go to the Harvest Closed Festival.
Ah, we missed
Hey.
Harvest
Ooh.
Close. This is
Dang.
depressing.
When I was born. On the
There you
Harvest
go.
Festival.
There you go.
I was gonna say I definitely rolled for when I was born, but did not remember it. So you know.
Well, it'll come up. Don't worry.
All right, so this is where we will end tonight's session. And congratulations, you're level 2.
Yeah.
I think
Hey.
I'm gonna do something a little bit different with
Evolved
HP for
trade.
levels 1, 2, and 3. I think I'm just gonna give you max HP for the first 3 levels, and
Oh,
then
we're gonna die, aren't we?
after that we'll roll for him. So
That's
whatever
not good.
whatever your hit dice is, do you all know how to level up in D&D Beyond? Let me ask you that.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, so until next time, this is where we'll leave it, and we'll pick up in probably 2 weeks from today. We'll figure that out. So until then,
Awesome.
good night.